Tonight, so a later start, but a great pitching matchup for you tonight. Masahiro Tanaka, Darvish, as two of Japan's former greats go head-to-head here at the stadium. For more on this pitching matchup, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, it is mid-morning in Japan, and it will be a big day in Japan as these two square off for the first time on a Major League Baseball field. They've met 4 times in Japan, with Darvish holding the advantage. 2-1 record with 1 no decision. Tanaka 1-3. Now, Tanaka not bashful about being excited about playing against his fellow countrymen on this stage, but Darvish really trying to downplay things. Didn't want to make too big of a deal about it. Really wanted to focus on his team getting a win regardless of who they were playing or who was pitching. But it is a huge deal in Japan. Darvish, the last time he faced Tanaka, didn't remember much of the detail, but he did remember that Tanaka tried to pick a guy off and he threw the ball away, and he then laughed and smiled. He was kidding, of course. He remembers other things about it, but wanted to take a little jab there at Tanaka, guys.
Let it start early. Love it. All right. Well, it's just about set. Let's take a look at our Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers. Back at 500, 36 wins, 36 losses. Chu continues to set the table at an astounding rate in that leadoff spot. Adrian Beltre, last 4 games, has been raking. Not a shock there. Rougned Odor batting 5th. Carlos Gomez, the guy to watch after his 2-homer game yesterday.
And we'll take a look at Masahiro Tanaka, the righty that is taking the mound against Darvish, and take a little bit of a closer look at the arsenal. It's a lot of fastballs that has been an issue for him, although it is the pitch that he uses the most. You'll see that slider as well at 28% of the time, the cutter, and every once in a while, just 6% of the time, he'll throw that curveball.
All right, so we are finally set to go in this one. Tanaka takes a big breath. Admittedly, very excited about tonight's game. 6'3", 215 pounds. He uncoils, and we're underway. Strike 1 to Shin-Soo Choo, who, as we mentioned, has been getting on at an unbelievable rate lately. His on-base percentage for the year 6th best in the American League at .387.
It's a sharp-looking split from Masahiro Tanaka. Another pitch that's been a little bit of an issue for him. Now, we showed the fastball usage. Now, that will include the 4-seam, the 2-seam, and the cutter, which is the first pitch that he threw to Chu.
Chu also with very good power out of that leadoff spot. And he swings right through strike 3. So we are underway with a strikeout by Tanaka.
We'll take a look at the Yankee defense. It'll be behind Tanaka tonight, and it's Brett Gardner, Aaron Hicks, Aaron Judge in the outfield. Torreyes, Gregorius, Castro, and Chris Carter at first, and Gary Sanchez behind the plate tonight with Masahiro Tanaka.
So Elvis Andrus, there's Aaron Judge. Big fella out in right field. The talk of the town here in New York City. Andrus, 288 average, and takes this one right back up the middle. That's a base hit. So the Rangers have their first base runner of the night. And Andrus with very good speed. Always a threat to create some havoc on the bases.
Well, after watching that at bat against Chu, Elvis Andrus is not going to wait around and gets a first pitch fastball that is up, drills it into center field. The Rangers have their first base runner.
Nomar Mazara, 274 average. Good power numbers as well. Now, the last couple of games have slowed him down just a touch. In fact, just 3 hits in his last 5 games, but 2 of them landed on the other side of the fence. Worth noting, too, with Tanaka, of the many issues he's had this year, probably the greatest issue he has had has been keeping the ball in the yard. 21 home runs allowed. Only Ricky Nolasco has allowed more home runs this year. Nolasco with the Angels has given up 23, but that's an astounding number. Decent lead for Andrus, not going anywhere. 1-1 on Mazara.
We'll take a look at the season numbers overall here for Masahiro Tanaka, and we mentioned it's been a struggle, and you can see it right here. That 6.34 ERA. The strikeouts to walks, the ratio is still pretty good, but yes, those home runs stick out. 21 allowed. Career best for him was 25 back in 2015. He did that in 24 starts. He is most certainly going to pass that number this year. It was interesting to me watching the two lefties that have hit so far. So it's been Chu, it's been Mazara, and Masahiro Tanaka gave them both the exact same first two pitches. It was a cutter backdoor that caught the outside corner. Then he came back with the split to both of them. Now he missed with the split in his second pitch to Mazara, but it looks like maybe those are the two pitches he is most comfortable with. Cutter, split. Let's see what he decides to do here now with 2 strikes. He did elevate the fastball last time against Chu.
The 1-2, and got him swinging. The second strikeout tonight for Tanaka.
Well, this looks like the cutter down and in. Now we've seen 5 of these so far, and you wonder a little bit because when you look at pitch usage, and we put these all together, I mentioned we use the fastballs and kind of clump them together, but when you start to separate them a little bit, that cutter has only been used about 2% of the time. But so far here in the first inning, Masahiro Tanaka seems very comfortable with his cutter, at least to those left-handed hitters.
So with 2 gone, it's up to Adrian Beltre. Tanaka getting another swing and a miss, so missing some bats in this first inning.
He said he went back and watched some video and felt like he had some things figured out. His last start did not go very well at all, and he feels like maybe he's made the correction that he's needed to make. So far it looks pretty sharp.
Long look in. Beltre swings and lifts this one high in the air down the left field line, but that one is well foul for strike 2. Beltre coming off a very good homestand. Take another look.
You see them try to go in here with the fastball. They got it in. That ball ultimately finished the ball. A little two-seam fastball with some good run up and in against Adrian, which tells me now he's got him set up to go back away. Right, he saw a fastball away, two-seamer in. He could throw that cutter away, or maybe even the split finger below the zone.
Andrews able to lure Tanaka over to first base. Andrews with 17 stolen bases this year. No balls, 2 strikes on Beltre. He hits this one in the air down the right field line, but it will end up in the seats. I mentioned that Beltre had a real nice homestand. Drove in 9 runs on that homestand. In fact, 7 RBIs in the last 4 games, so he's been very productive getting runners home. And been a big lift to this team since returning to the starting lineup. It's 51 games for an injury. Had him on the disabled list on opening day. Calf is healthy though, back in there, and he has produced. It's 1-2. And while a lot of the focus tonight on the pitching matchup of Tanaka and Darvish, every day we're out at the ballpark, Adrian Beltre in the spotlight for his continued chase of 3,000 hits. And several other milestone markers that he's about to hit. 450 home runs, 600 doubles. All of those could be had on this road trip. Tanaka with 2 strikeouts in this first inning. Andrews running. The pitch is outside. The throw down to second base. In time, they got him. 7th time this year that Andrews caught stealing, and the inning is over. So the Rangers got a base hit. They could get nothing out of it. And Jeff Bannister is He's asked for a moment. He may want to challenge this one. I don't know. Andrews didn't give us that indication. They're not going to challenge. So the inning indeed is done. Nothing doing for the Rangers in their half of the first inning. The Yankees coming to bat. For the Rangers. Now the Yankees coming to bat. We take a look at their lineup. 39 wins, 31 losses, tied with Boston at top of the East. Gardner, Hicks, and Judge up at the top. What a good year for Starlin Castro. Huge year offensively for him. Gary Sanchez does the catching, and he's in front offensively.
We'll take a look at Darvish, and always taking a look at his pitch arsenal. One of the best in the game. Fastball about 50% of the time. That does mean 4 and 2, and of course you'll see the cutter there. Now he throws it more, so we separate it a little bit, but it's a slider averaging 83 miles an hour, which is the go-to, a pitch that opposing hitters are batting a paltry 160 against. Still has the highest spin rate too of any right-handed starter, or any starter, excuse me, in the big leagues when it comes to that slider.
That has been his calling card. A 30-year-old right-hander, formerly the Ichiban starting pitcher in Japan.
Nice.
Right, you like
now
that?
What does it mean?
The best.
That's
the
right.
ultimate.
Ichiban, best. The pronunciation needs a little bit of work. And I thought this was, fascinating. Not just interesting, fascinating when we started looking at some of the Yankee hitters. There's not very many of them. Only 5 have at bats against Darvish. Brett Gardner's got 4 solo home runs in 11 at bats against Darvish. 4. Pretty unbelievable.
Those are amazing numbers. I mean, a 455 batting average. Just let's start with that.
Yeah.
455 average against Darvish. That distinguishes him. But the fact that 4 of his 5 hits have been home runs, that is ridiculous. And he hits this ball hard into center field, a base hit. So his dominance against Darvish continues. Gardner is aboard to start at the bottom of the first.
We'll see Darvish here go with the 2-seam fastball. Really good run. That was a little bit more horizontal than it was vertical, but you just get comfortable against certain hitters, certain pitchers, and it's pretty unbelievable to think that you can be comfortable against Darvish, because he's a very uncomfortable at bat, but for whatever the reason for Gardner, it just seems to work, and it continues here in this game tonight.
So Gardner is on. 9 steals and 10 tries. That brings up Aaron Hicks. It'll be interesting to see how much the Yankees want to try and run against Darvish. Way in. The ball on Hicks.
I believe a decent amount, right? I mean, Darvish has yielded 9 stolen bases out of 11 attempts. Only 2 base stealers have been thrown out. That's a little bit of an issue. And then you look at the Yankees overall. Still a pretty decent amount. 43 stolen bases on the year. That's 9th best in Major League Baseball.
Off the plate, it's 2-0 on Hicks. Hicks hitting .300, but with 10 home runs. That's an on-base percentage of .411. That's second in the American League. And well, you look at the offensive numbers for the Yankees, so impressive. They get on base at a very high rate, best in the American League, and they hit for extraordinary power. And that would be the competing theory against running a lot on Darvish would be, well, hang on, let's just keep getting on and hitting bombs, because that's been a formula that has worked well for them.
Yeah, you don't want to take that chance either. I mean, Jonathan Lucroy does a good job throwing out runners, 11 for 34 on the season. And you don't want to run into outs, even though this team has struggled a little bit right now. We talked about them being just 1-8 over their last 9. And sometimes when you're struggling, you'll start to push it a little bit, try to do some different things to get the offense going. But I'm with you. I think that as well as this team has swung the bat over the course of the season, you don't push it too much. You don't push the panic button and start running into outs.
A swing and a miss. Evens a count of 2-2 on Aaron Hicks.
I think we also know this too. Darvish has a tendency to run his pitch count up, right? He can get himself in a little bit of trouble. So early on, I want to give him an opportunity, if I'm an opponent, to maybe do that a little bit. And again, not giving away any outs on the bases. If you're going to go, you got to be confident that you're going to make it.
Good lead. He's going, and the pitch swung on and missed. Strike 3. That's the first out of the inning, but Gardner with a steal of second. And it brings up big Aaron Judge. All right, how about this? Let's go back in the Wayback Machine all the way to June 11th. Wasn't that long ago? But that ball, are you kidding me?
They had HD back then, huh?
All the way.
On June 11th? But it's an absolute bomb here from Aaron Judge. He's a fun guy to watch because he doesn't just hit home runs. He hits long home runs, just the way Joey Gallo does as well. But this has been an incredible season for a guy who really struggled in a little bit of time that he got last year. There was a lot of questions about whether or not he was going to be able to stick in the big leagues. You know, base was bad. The strikeouts were bad. And he's a highly touted prospect. And in New York, it always seems like you're even more highly touted. More of a big deal is made about you. But Aaron Judge has really answered the bell here for the Yankees. And they believe they have their next superstar, not just because of the talent, but because of the personality as well. He carries himself extremely well.
Well, the numbers have been telling. Right now, the top 2 in the Triple Crown categories, leads the league in just about every other category. Fouls that one off to go 1-2. He is a mountain of a man, 6'7", over 280 pounds. And it's not like, you know, he's just a huge lump of humanity. That's a sculpted dude right there.
Yeah, he's jacked. He's humongous. He dominated kids when he was in high school at every sport that he played, as a receiver, as a pitcher. He had a sub-1 ERA as a pitcher in basketball, just beating up dudes. But check this out here, because here's what's interesting about Aaron Judge. Not only does he have tremendous power, check out where he hits his home runs, right? He is not just dead full power. You get guys like that that take big swings but can only do one thing, and you can pitch them away consistently. No, you can't do that to Aaron Judge. I mean, unbelievably spread out. You see the Judge's chambers there in right field. He does those guys a favor and hits some home runs out that way.
1-2. And he struck out swinging. Good slider by Darvish. And that's his second strikeout of the night.
Tell you what, I've noticed this a little bit from you, Darvish. This is the curveball here at 73 miles an hour. We know he has that slow curveball, and it is becoming a pitch that he is using even more and more. Now, overall for the season, it's been just 6%, but in his last 2 starts, 12% and 15%. So I think he's realizing that pitch is one that he can use more effectively, especially to finish off some hitters. Again, doesn't use it a ton, but just an .065 batting average against that pitch. I think he's recognized that, and the usage is going up.
Well, fires a fastball in there for a strike to Matt Holliday. And that we talk about all the breaking pitches and the wide variety of pitches he uses, but when we've seen him struggle, oftentimes it's because he doesn't command the fastball well. He's placed it a few times well in this first inning.
That's always a good sign. That's a really good fastball right there into Matt Holliday.
And it results in a weak bouncer to Gallo and a scoreless bottom of the first. So both starting pitchers looking good out of the gates.
in New York. No score here between the Rangers and the Yankees, but you got to do this. You got to celebrate the 4th of July with America's pastime. You got to head out to the ballpark when the Rangers take on the Boston Red Sox. That game will be at 7 o'clock, and after the fireworks, of course, there will be, enjoy 4th of July fireworks after the game, not after the fireworks, Dave. That's going to be presented by Honda, and tickets are available at TexasRangers.com. That makes more sense. After the fireworks, you got to go. You can't hang around anymore. Beat it. But after the game, you can stay and you can watch fireworks. That's what I meant to say.
There's Adrian Beltre. He gets a fresh count in the 2nd inning. Yeah, I was just concerned what to do after.
Get out of here. You got to go. Yeah. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay at Globe Life Park.
Beltre at 290 coming into play tonight. I got a whole hero in 2.
I got a question you won't be able to answer.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident. How do you treat
6?
We talk about pitches per plate appearance a lot, right? And how important that is. Does this count as the same plate appearance for Adrian Beltre? I know you don't have the answer. That's why I'm telling you.
No, I don't.
Kind of interesting, right? He saw 4 or 5 pitches in his first. Right? Is that now? Is he up to 7 this plate appearance?
No.
But you just throw the other one out?
Throw it out.
That's it.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen. All right.
I mean, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
See, the funny thing about that is that is a stat we like to use. Has come into favor to evaluate a guy's ability to work counts, that kind of thing. And so it has relevance.
Yes.
But at the same time,
it doesn't tell you necessarily everything about the hitter. Now, it tells you that he knows how to work the count, gets deep in the count, doesn't necessarily tell you he's a great hitter. The Rangers have been very good attacking first pitches this year. But go back to the first inning for Tanaka. Obviously, those pitches count for him when you look at his pitches per innings pitch, but they come up because that's been an issue for him this year. The pitch counts have gotten a little bit too high as he struggled. But in the case of Adrian Beltre, yeah, they just go away, I think. But it does matter. But if you start looking at that list, rarely you're going to find the really good power guys, right? They're usually kind of attacking early.
2-2 from Tanaka, and that one misses. First full count for him. Beltre saw a lot of pitches in that unofficial plate appearance right before Runders was thrown out stealing second base. With that advantage of having seen a few, he's now worked at full against Tanaka, who is not likely to walk many. That is one thing he has always done well, is keep the walks under control, especially relative to the number of strikeouts that he will garner over the course of an inning, and he already has 2 of those. 3-2, and there's a bouncer shortstop. Gregorius has plenty of time and takes care of Beltre for out number 1.
Well, you say that, and this is what's interesting about Tanaka's year. He's still doing an excellent job when it comes to his walks. 2.5 walks per 9 innings. There are a lot of starters in the game that would absolutely take that number. But it is, however, far and away the worst of his career. The first 3 years he's pitched here in the States, his walk rate was 1.5. I mean, that's beyond elite. It's an incredible number. But for him now, he's walking 1 more per 9, so the command has gotten away from him, at least what the expectations are for Masahiro Tanaka. Still an excellent level, but it has been the worst he's performed in that regard.
Well, he deals with Rougned Odor here, and Rugi hits one hard out to right field, but Judge to his left pulls it in, and there are 2 away. Now, taking a look at the rankings for highest earned run average this year among starters, there is Tanaka trailing just Kevin Gausman. That's not good.
2 huge surprises there, too, because Kevin Gausman, it looked like maybe he was ready to take over that ace role for the Baltimore Orioles. Chris Tillman has struggled. They also knew maybe, based on what they saw from Gausman last year, maybe he would be the guy. Tanaka certainly has been an ace and an opening day starter over the course of his career. There's a huge investment, $155 million, $175 total when you count the $20 million that went to his team in Japan. So you certainly don't expect that kind of return in his 4th year.
He gets Gomez to take a very aggressive hack at strike 1. You see Carlos, a 10-game hitting streak, extended that with some style yesterday. The final game of that homestand. He'll ask for time.
And we're just talking about the pitches per plate appearance. Now Carlos has been the opposite of that. You saw him swinging at that first pitch there. 22% of his plate appearances this year have only been one pitch. That's the most in baseball. He's aggressive early, and it's worked for him.
Yeah, he's been interesting. 3 for 4 yesterday with 2 home runs yesterday. The first one,
with the good flip. He was pretty confident that that was fair, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And he was very confident that this one was gone.
He makes it look fun every time Carlos Gomez hits a home run. He certainly enjoys it, as he should.
And a hole here, 1 and 2. So I asked him today, you know, got anything in mind? You want to make any predictions? He said he feels good. You can't do that every day.
No.
Yesterday, calling his shot.
He's probably mad at you that he asked him that question. I think he told me that actually later. He said something about being mad at you. I think that was it.
Got it through his chair. The 1-2, and he strikes out swinging. 3rd strikeout for Tanaka. We played 1.5 in the Bronx. Time for the big story. And late last night, Jock Peterson. Oh boy. Yeah. Another bomb for the Dodgers, who, by the way, lead the National League West now by a game and a half coming into today. 48-26. They've won 7 in a row, and they are powdering the baseball.
And they got a bunch of hard swingers in that lineup. Jock Peterson has always kind of been that guy. Cody Bellinger has been the story on what he has done for the Dodgers, getting great production out of the rookie left-handed hitter. Yasiel Puig's having a pretty nice year as well. That's something they've been waiting on these last couple of seasons, where he has displayed the power as well. They're a very dangerous lineup in the National League West. It's been a very interesting division with the Rockies, Diamondbacks, and now Dodgers leading.
Meanwhile, here, no scores. We go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Starlin Castro having a great season. 7th in the league with that .320 average. A total of 91 hits already. It's 1-1 on Castro, batting 5th tonight for the Yankees. Darvish had a couple of strikeouts in his half of the 1st inning and has allowed 1 hit. A lot of breaking balls. It's 2-1. Castro acquired by the Yankees from the Cubs in the Adam Warren trade. That was in December of 2015, and the count goes to 2-2.
Adam Warren, of course, ended up back here. Very short stint for him with the Cubs, and didn't really enjoy it that much. Wasn't saying any bad things necessarily, but I think he definitely missed New York and was happy to get traded back here. So it worked out pretty well, I think, all the way around. Obviously, the Cubs eventually got their ring, and Starlin Castro probably would have ran out of playing time in Chicago.
Yeah, there was nowhere to put him.
Let's take a look at the Ranger defense, which is delivered to you by Chicken Express. Nomar Mazara is in left. Carlos Gomez in center. Chu will be in right, dealing with that short porch here that they have at Yankee Stadium. Beltre, Andrews, Odor, and Gallo at first. And Jonathan Lucroy, by the way, behind the plate. We had talked about him already catching Yu Darvish. It had been Robinson Chirinos who've been doing most of the bulk of the work with Yu Darvish, but Jeff Bannister never wants to get into that situation where he has personal catchers. And based on the travel and everything else, with Chirinos catching yesterday, Lucroy will be the guy. Now, this is what stuck out. I did a little research looking. Didn't take me very long looking at Yu Darvish with Chirinos, Yu Darvish with Lucroy. The ERA somewhat similar, 3.14 with Chirinos, 3.68 with Lucroy. But how about this? 65 strikeouts to 18 walks with Chirinos.
This one popped up out to short center field. Gomez is in, and there's one away.
So I know, I was careful about throwing too many numbers without you actually being able to see them. But so it's 18 walks with both catchers. Right, 18 walks with Chirinos, 18 walks with Jonathan Lucroy. But the strikeouts jump off. He paid 65 with Chirinos, only 34 with Lucroy. Not quite double, but pretty close when you start to look at the strikeouts compared to the walks with Robinson Chirinos and Jonathan Lucroy. Now, was there anything to make of that? It could be happenstance and how he was feeling that day and just, whatever it may be, but that's a significant amount when you're talking about 31 more strikeouts when Robinson Chirinos is behind the plate with the same amount of walks.
Could certainly be the competition, right? The team.
Yep, no doubt. And I doubt it has anything to do with the catcher. It was just kind of interesting that it stuck out and there was that much of a difference.
Well, but I mean, it could, right? You could be a guy who calls a game in an attempt to get more weak contact.
Which is probably a smart play. When you have Yu Darvish, he's a great strikeout pitcher, but we know the pitch counts can get up there. So if you can find a way, if that's the plan, Jonathan Lucroy thinking about maybe, hey, let's get some weaker contact earlier, get you deeper in the game. Certainly nothing wrong with that strategy.
And to that end, to make the point, the last start Chirinos caught against the Mariners was a start in which Darvish used 29 pitches in the first, could only go 5 innings, used 99 pitches through 5 innings, which in and of itself was a miracle after that first inning. And so it could be that maybe there was a thought, well, maybe a slight adjustment would be in order. 2 balls and a strike here on Gary Sanchez, very dangerous hitter. That's 2-2.
He is, but isn't it amazing how quickly we forgot about Gary Sanchez, at least on the national scene? He was so incredible last year with those 20 home runs, and he's still doing a nice job. Obviously, he missed some time because of injury, but he's still doing a great job. But it was all about, well, how many home runs can Gary Sanchez hit over the course of a full year after we watched him hit 20 in 50 games?
Rolls this one to short. Andrews is there. And there are 2 away.
Now the conversation has gone to how many can Aaron Judge hit this year, just like that. But take a look at these 2 guys. Last year, of course, Gary Sanchez was 53 games when it was all said and done, those 20 home runs. And in 68 games, Aaron Judge has now hit 25. But both of those guys, OPS over 1,000. Now, Sanchez barely went over the rookie limit, but that doesn't matter. I mean, the big picture here for the Yankees is they have good young players, and Brian Cashman has worked hard to try to get there, because this is not the kind of market that is patient and is willing to wait necessarily for young players to develop. It's always about spending money, bringing in established veterans, but they have flipped the script here a little bit. Now it's starting to pay some dividends.
2 away, and the base is empty for Didi Gregorius, who turns this one down the right field line foul.
They think that maybe they still had the best of all in the minor leagues, right? As far as it was with that Cubs trade for Aroldis Chapman that they brought in Torres, but unfortunately he just had Tommy John surgery. He's not going to miss the rest of the year, but he is kind of the heir apparent potentially at shortstop, and a lot of people rave about the young Torres. They thought maybe they would see him soon here in the Bronx, but his season is now over.
A little number by the mound. Beltre has to gobble it up. Goes across to get Gregorius and completes a 1-2-3 inning for Yu Darvish. We've played 2 so far tonight.
In the Bronx, no score between the Rangers and the Yankees. Time for our Shiner Light Blonde Spotlight, and tonight we shine it on Mike Napoli, who is on deck. And Nap hits Masahiro Tanaka quite well. You see the numbers there: 538 average, 2 home runs, and the OPS off the charts. Asked Nap about it, if there's anything to it. He said, no, there's really no explanation. It's just one of those things. I know I hit well against him. I don't know the exact number, so it does relax me a little bit when I get into the box. But he said, you know, transversely, if I know a guy, you know, owns me, I try not to bring that into the box. So I'm only using it when the numbers work to my advantage, guys.
Well, that's why they're there, right? You
Yep.
use the numbers to tell the story you want. And don't use them the other time. Bouncer deep in the hole. Gregorius with the long throw, and it pulls Carter off the back. So that's an infield hit for Jonathan Lucroy.
Well, this was going to be an incredible play for Didi Gregorius if he could get this throw on line. He actually had a chance, and it would have had to be something spectacular. Now, Yankee fans are used to seeing that jump right there. Of course, Derek Jeter made that famous here in the Bronx. Go a little bit higher than that. But interesting, too, on Mike Napoli, just kind of not worrying about it too much. So, yeah, I know I hit him well. I've seen the ball well, but don't worry about strategy. Now, on the flip side, when you have a guy that does own you well, I think it does make sense to dig a little bit and say, okay, well, how has he attacked me? And if it's been a consistent area that he has gone to, let's say fastball in, whatever it may be, that's probably smart to at least get an idea of what the strategy is. But yes, you want to stay away from the numbers. You know,
This one gets away, and Lucroy goes to second base.
you know, if you're 1 for 20 off of a guy, yeah, you may not want to know that you're hitting all 50 against him, but at least the idea of, okay, well, what is he doing against me? That certainly does matter.
The pass ball on that last play for Lucroy.
How about Gary Sanchez? Now it's 5 pass balls for him this year.
I mentioned earlier he can hit.
No, he can swing it. Now, it was a little bit of an issue when he first got here last year and got to the big leagues. Joe Girardi felt like he had made the adjustments that they were looking for him to make. That was something that they were waiting on with him defensively. Now, you always love your manager to spin things positive, right? But he's saying things like, okay, well, you know what? I'm pretty happy with what he has done. He's calling a better game. He's receiving better. He's got a great arm, and he loves to show it off. He loves the back pick. You have to be careful with him, but you can still see it. He's had a little bit of a rough year defensively.
A little low, and it is 3-0 to Mike Napoli. Napoli, as we mentioned, Emily just pointed out the success he has had against Tanaka, and it looks like Tanaka may be being a little careful with him. Good power numbers for Nap. 14 home runs, 32 RBIs.
Tanaka has walked him 4 times as well in those 17 plate appearances.
Napoli spent a little bit of time on the disabled list recently with that lower back issue, but since coming off the DL, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, and that's in a span of 6 starts. So the power has returned, and quickly for him. His home run yesterday, an impressive shot. As he went the other way out to right field. Tanaka's 3-0, and there's ball 4. So an infield hit and a walk. Great way to start the 3rd inning for the Rangers. Another great treat as we take a Chevy game break and send it back to John Radigan.
It's 2 dudes. It's two dudes working on Megan over here.
All right, thanks, John. No score here. A very anticipated pitching matchup between Yu Darvish and Masahiro Tanaka. And for the first time, Tanaka in a little bit of trouble here. A couple of men on, nobody out, and Joey Gallo at the plate. But he gets Gallo to fish after strike 1.
This will be the first plate appearance for Joey Gallo. As you see the numbers there, 19 home runs, 5th in the American League, but first time he has ever faced Masahiro Tanaka. And see him already, kind of the approach against Joey Gallo with that pitch below the zone. The split finger, I got to believe, would be a tough one for Joey when Tanaka's throwing it well.
He's in a whole 0-2. Gallo with 98 strikeouts coming into play today. That's most in the American League. That is a part of the game the Rangers are willing to concede, at least at this part in his career. He does strike out a lot, but when you look at his on base plus slugging, his OPS, one of the more simple ways to really evaluate a guy's value offensively, he's second on the team only to Shin-Soo Choo. He gets on and he hits bombs.
As long as he stays above 800, and listen, it doesn't have to be exactly that. If he throws a 799, no, he doesn't. Doesn't change things. But the idea of staying up above 800, league average is about 750. So as long as he continues to hit with power, stay above league average when it comes to the OPS, then absolutely, he's a very serviceable, and beyond that, very impact bat in that lineup, and especially where the Rangers bat him because of the personnel, putting him near the bottom of the order. But mention the split finger. That's what you saw 0-1 there at 89 miles an hour, diving away from Joey Gallo. That's a tough pitch for any left-hander, but I think especially for power hitters with big swings.
Two-strike pitch and fouls it off. His OPS at 806, mentioned second only to Choo. Choo is at 823. Those are both very good numbers.
Listen, even league average OPS are slightly above, as long as he is hitting for power, which of course is a big contributor to that. You can live with the low batting average. You can live with the other things. Listen, it is an impactful bat right now, hitting in the 9-hole. Think about being an opposing pitcher. You're looking at this monster hitting ninth and go, man, if I make a mistake, I get a new baseball from the umpire.
0-2. That's in the dirt. His 19 home runs right now. We still, what do we have, about 15 games after today, prior to the All-Star break. His 19 home runs are most pre-All-Star game since 2013, at least by a Ranger. Nelson Cruz had 22. Beltre had 21. He's likely, I would say certainly at this rate, he's likely to pass both those. He chases strike three, so Gallo strikes out in the third, one away, and we turn the lineup over. And that brings up tonight's TXU Energy Power Player to Watch. The Rangers leader in OPS, and as a leadoff man, the number's even better for Choo. When he's in that top spot of the order, hitting nearly 320. OPS approaching 1,000. Just a fantastic job as the Rangers leadoff man this year.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job, and he's always been that guy, but he has really shined when he's been the guy at the top of the Rangers order.
We'll take a strike from Tanaka. Tanaka struck him out in the first inning. One of 4 strikeouts his first time through the order.
Now does he do it again, right? So he went cutter there. That's exactly what he did in the first at bat. Backdoor cutter. He went split finger next. Let's see if he decides to go with the same pattern.
Put quite the shift on for Choo. 1-1.
It looked like Sanchez had called for the split, and Tanaka shook to it. They went back to the hard cutter in. When you have a deep repertoire the way that Tanaka does, and it is a deep repertoire, you find yourself constantly guessing as a hitter when you're seeing so many different pitches. It's 3 different kinds of fastballs, 4-2, cutter, then the slider, then the curveball, and the split. Everything going in a different direction at different speeds. When he's on, he can be tough. He just hasn't been on much this year.
Shoots this one down to third, off the glove, and the double play turn. Wow. Correas stuck with it for a moment there. Looked like it might trickle away and end up being an infield hit or an error, but instead it's a 5-4-3 double play and the inning is over. So we go to the last of the third inning, still no score. Time for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile. And today, David Ortiz had his number 34 retired, 10th player in Red Sox history to receive that honor. Felix Hernandez back from the disabled list for the Mariners. Starts tonight against the Astros. And the Astros, speaking of them, about that 50 wins in just 74 games. Fourth time that's happened in the last 17, 18 years.
Too much good news coming out of the American League West for teams other than the Rangers here, right? The Astros are obviously doing really well, and Felix is back, and you know how impact he can be in that division. I say the opposite. We need to do one of like all bad news in the American League West.
There you go. That's your Unlimited Baseball Break.
Let's keep it
A's lead the world in errors. Chris Carter, a first baseman for the Yankees. Struggling a little bit at the plate. Fouls that one off of our plate umpire, Dan Asonia. Dan says he's fine. They got on him in a hurry, though. Carter, meanwhile, 209 average, 8 home runs this year. And he strikes out swinging. It's funny, he was about half a step toward the dugout on his way, and then paused. Make sure he understood exactly what Asonia was saying, but third strikeout for Darvish.
Probably hoping, hey, maybe he could stay there for a little bit longer and get a check swing. Chris Carter, as we know, is a free swinger with some power. Tell you what, I don't know. Thought maybe there's a chance he held up, but obviously not. See the top of Darvish's hat there? Donut powder, you think? Probably not.
I don't.
Probably.
Donut powder.
That's right. Of course, the rosin, which is perfectly legal to have. You get a night like this, it's humid here in New York. You see the rosin bag. Be a little sticky. The rosin. This is a good time to use rosin. When the weather's cool and the air is, crisp. Think about Chicago, New York in April, Boston. No, that's not ideal. But this time of year, when it starts to get humid, especially we've had a rainy night, that rosin can come up big for guys really kind of absorb the sweat, keep your hands dry, help with a little bit of grip on the baseball, and Darvish taking full advantage of that.
Ronald Torreyes, who just turned that double play a moment ago nicely from third base, bats here with 1 out. Yankees got the first man on, Brett Gardner, with a single, and Darvish is retired the next 7. Breaking ball popped up, out of play, keeps the count 0-2. Torreyes was a waiver claim from the Angels over the offseason. After the 2015 season, and now with the Yankees. Shoots this one foul again. He hasn't played a ton. Torreyes, this is his 45th game of the year. He had played less than 10 games with the Angels before he was designated and then claimed off waivers. The Yankees have been able to use him. 2-strike pitch, and he chases strike 3. So 4 strikeouts for Darvish the first time through. Our power stats brought to you by Kubota. We turn the lineup over. Well, Darvish on the road, that 328 earned run average on the road, 6th best in the American League among starters since his debut in 2012, but even better this year.
It's impressive, I think, for Darvish, because for all Japanese pitchers, when they come over, they have adjustments to make. The mounds are harder here. They're much softer. The dirt is softer in Japan, but then bouncing around in so many different stadiums, right? You think about what they have to do there. There's only 6 teams in each league, and interleague play is pretty limited. So you basically have 5 other mounds that you have to deal with. There's a couple other, like I said, interleague, and they'll play at alternate stadiums once in a while. But for the most part, 5 other mounds that you have to deal with. Well, here you come now into the American League. That's 14 more mounds you got to deal with, right? And then, of course, your interleague ones as well. And it could be a big adjustment, but he's done a really nice job. We talked to him or heard him talk about how much he loves Houston and how well he pitched there, because he feels like the dirt's a little bit softer. It's just extremely comfortable. So to see him pitch so well on the road ever since he's been here in the United States, I think that's a big deal compared to maybe your average American pitcher, just because there's such big adjustments as it is with the different mounds. And regardless of where you go, every mound feels just a little bit different.
His 2-0, and that one fouled off. Well, you talk about the mounds being a little bit different.
Yeah,
they're fairly uniform from place to place, but there's a little bit of difference in texture. How much of it is the actual structure on top of which you're pitching, and how much of it is then the distance between home plate and the backstop, and just your visuals?
Optics absolutely matters. Sometimes you'll sit there and stand on top of a mound and feel like you're 2 or 3 feet closer than maybe another mound.
Oh, good. Back to a breaking ball.
It's ones that you'll get on, you feel like maybe you're further away, or you feel like you're lower, even though you're probably not. It's a feel thing. Sometimes the mounds will feel a little bit harder. It's just all these little different things that go into it, and pitchers can be pretty fickle and pretty particular, and you get one that you're a little bit uncomfortable on, and it could be a little bit of a nightmare for you. You usually end up not liking to go into that ballpark, but Darvish has done a great job of adjusting throughout all these different mounds in MLB.
Gardner hits this ball well out to right field, but Chu is there. And the inning is done, and that's 9 in a row retired by you, Darvish. So after that leadoff single, the big right-hander settled in. We've got ourselves a pitcher's duel in New York. As we go to the 4th inning. Andrus, Mazara, Beltre. So this is the second time through now for Tanaka. And he gets a 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Let's see if the Rangers can make any adjustments to what they have seen from the Yankees right-hander. Pours in a strike. Andrus had the base hit, one of 2 hits so far against Tanaka. Elvis eventually thrown out at second, trying to steal. And it is 1-1. Tanaka has gone winless in his last 7 starts. In fact, lost 5 consecutive starts. That one stretch in there. And there's a bouncer third base, just foul.
We'll see. Like I said, his last start did not go very well at all. And you mentioned the kind of the run that he has been on. I mean, it hasn't been a good season, but it was 3 home runs in his last start, 7 home runs in his last 3 starts that he has allowed. Doesn't get very deep in games, although he did have a complete game shutout against the Red Sox in late April. But there have been some serious struggles over his last 4, 7 runs, 5 runs, 3 runs, 5. But he said he's been watching some video. It feels like he may have figured something out. A lot of times it feels like that's eyewash, but like I said he's looking pretty sharp here tonight.
Line drive to Judge, one away. Hey, the Texas Rangers are pleased to bring you the first ever Game of Thrones theme night. It's going to be Wednesday, July 5th. The Rangers taking on the Red Sox. This ticket comes with a limited edition House Bannister bobblehead. Plus, you can take your picture on the Iron Throne. Tickets must be purchased through TexasRangers.com/Game of Thrones. CJ, just remember,
Yes.
Bannister always pays his debts.
See, I don't know what that means. I haven't watched one episode yet. I know you started watching it. Why is it House Bannister? Do you know?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Here's Nomar Mazara. So, in the realm, there are.
You lost me already.
Behind the wall, in the realm.
Okay.
There are a couple of, I don't know, little enclaves, if you will, houses lorded over by these families, like the Lannisters, which is the play on Bannister.
Ah, okay.
It's Mazara. Goes 1-1. So yeah, if you were from, you would of course, you would be my hand.
Okay.
As it would be called in Game of Thrones.
And you guys,
I would anoint you my hand.
Okay, so everyone that's watching right now is giggling because that's funny apparently.
This down in the dirt.
He just called CJ his hand.
No, you would be my hand for sure because you're my trusted
right hand man.
Right hand man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you would be the hand and House Raymond. Something like that.
Raymond.
I'm not quite through the first season, so it's a little clunky.
Hard to tell.
2-1. And it's a strike to Mazara. Nomar struck out in the first inning, 0 for 1. Well, a big matchup tonight between Darvish and Tanaka. Both opening day starters for their respective clubs. And this one lifted out into center field. Not going to carry though. Hicks waits. And there are 2 gone.
How about this? Tomorrow it's going to be the Brewers and the Braves. That'll be at 3 o'clock on FS1. And then the Angels and the Red Sox at 6, your local Fox station. Or, of course, it'll be live on FS Go. So you got FS1 and Big Fox. It's Saturday. MLB on Fox. The place to be. And, of course, also you'll be watching on Fox Sports Southwest. 1 o'clock start scheduled for tomorrow on the East Coast.
Now, how about that? A little after noon to start back home tomorrow. Bouncer sharply to third base. Torres, long throw in time, and he takes care of Beltre and the Rangers in the 4th. Tanaka beginning to cruise for the Yankees.
4 here at Yankee Stadium, game 1 between the Rangers and the Yankees. And it's time for our State Farm winning combination. And tonight it involves the guy on the mound and his pace. So talk to Jeff Bannister about Darvish's pace in his last start. He wasn't pleased with it and slowed things down a lot in that loss to Seattle. Really wanted to come out tonight and establish that pace. He's averaging about 26 seconds between pitches, and Jeff Bannister says that's fine, but what he needs to do is be consistent with that. It's like knowing when a train's going to leave the station. Your defense gets used to a certain timing of things, and so he needs to stay within that in order to keep his process going and in order to keep the defense on its toes. So far, so good here tonight, guys.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting conversation today with Banny about that, because he was saying it's not so much that we need him to speed up. We don't need him to be at 18 seconds between pitches. If you're going to be 26.2 seconds, fine, be 26.2 seconds, but let's try and be as consistent as possible with that, so your defense can stay engaged and get into a groove themselves. Yeah,
it's an interesting stat that you can find on Fangraphs where they keep track of these kinds of things. Last start for Darvish, it was 26.2 seconds in between. That was his pace. The one before that, 29.3. That is a big number, and certainly working slow. And he's had a couple of starts this year where he has knocked on the door of 30, and that is a lot of time in between. And it's not for everybody. We talk about this with Jeremy Jeffress a lot, right? He's got a very slow pace, but that's just what he's used to. And the idea of trying to pick up the pace in between pitches, as you take a look at Doug Brocail, pitching coach would love to see guys go a little bit quicker, but it doesn't work for everybody. It just doesn't. You can't force guys that are notorious slow workers to try to get them to work faster in between pitches. But there is a lot to be said for your defense and keeping those guys kind of in rhythm of the game. And if you start walking guys with a slow pace, that's when we get the games that are tough to watch. And when the errors start happening, when the balls get put in play.
There's 2-2 on Aaron Hicks here. We'll have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in this 4th inning. Darvish has retired 9 straight since that leadoff single. There's the big fella, Aaron Judge, waiting on deck for the Yankees. Hicks struck out on the first. He's 0 for 1.
Their pace, by the way, second slowest. Darvish is second slowest in Major League Baseball among starting pitchers. So it does make sense. And we've heard Martin Perez talk about that a bunch too. Wanting to get his tempo a little bit better this year. He mentioned that before the season started. Makes sense.
Martin, there's news on him today, walking around the clubhouse with his thumb bandaged up. And we got news that he fractured the tip of his thumb on his right hand and lacerated his nail. He was something happened with the door. He was opening it, closing it, something rather, got his thumb in the way and hurt it pretty badly. Now it's his gloved hand. So he's hoping that he can start Wednesday's game, but we have no significant update on that yet. That's yet to be determined. 3-2. And a bouncer shortstop. Right to Elvis. A true throw, and Hicks turned away to start the 4th inning.
Well, a lot of times you think with Martin Perez, okay, it was left-handed pitcher, right hand, who cares, right? Put it in your glove and off you go. But it is the thumb. When you think about fielding balls or a line drive that comes back to you and comes back hard and catches you in the wrong spot, that could make it worse. So we'll wait and see what happens here, and ultimately what the Rangers decide. It would be obviously a big loss if he had to skip a start, but nothing definite there. They're still kind of working on it, seeing if they can get through this thing or not. But just because it's not on the pitching hand does not mean that it's an automatic, that it's not a big deal that he can pitch. Even guys we've seen where they've hurt their right shoulders, left-handed pitchers, and it can be an issue. You still have to be able to use that right arm and that, especially that right hand, glove hand, to be able to do some things in the middle of the game.
1 out here in the 4th inning. Darvish dealing with Aaron Judge, who he struck out in the first. And this ball bounced on a couple of hops to short. Elvis Andrus takes care of Judge, 2 away.
Number 17, Matt.
So 11 straight for Darvish.
Number 17.
Fans, you can get a Coca-Cola family pack offering savings of over 30% on tickets, food, Kids Zone access, souvenir programs, and Coke soft drinks. But in order to do that, You're going to have to go to TexasRangers.com/special. This is an ideal way to catch the Rangers and the Angels. That game is on Sunday, July 9th. Make sure you check out TexasRangers.com/specials.
Matt Holliday 0 for 1. Rolled out in the first inning. Boy, that ball's really moving tonight.
The slider looks good.
The slider, the curve, he has had just wicked movement tonight, and he's ahead 0-2.
Yep, and I think the pace has been pretty good. We talked about that. Darvish was feeling really good. The velocity has been good. You mentioned the fastball command, always so important for Darvish. 72% of his fastballs have gone for strikes. That's a high number. You start to think overall. The slider, 90% of those have gone for strikes tonight.
Which to me is more amazing with the movement he's had, that you can command that in the zone. The 1-2. And there it is again, and a swing and a miss. Holliday strikes out to complete a perfect 4th inning, and Darvish absolutely cruising.
He's throwing the ball well and does a good job here against Matt Holliday to finish off the inning. You see it there, the slider up in the zone, and a good squeeze by Jonathan Lucroy.
West. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer now during the Ford Summer Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. 4 excellent innings in the books tonight. Great crowd here tonight at Yankee Stadium, and we go to the 5th. Masahiro Tanaka against Rougned Odor, Carlos Gomez, and Jonathan Lucroy. Rangers with a couple of hits. Andrews had it 1 in the first. Lucroy reached on an infield hit in the 3rd. And neither team has gotten a base runner as far as 3rd base yet tonight, as Odor 0 for 1 takes a strike from Tanaka. They want it up and a little bit in. It's 1-1. Odor was 1 for 5 yesterday with a run scored. A couple of doubles and a homer on that last homestand. A bouncer over to the right side, and Castro is right there. 1 away in the 5th inning. That'll bring up Carlos Gomez, who struck out in the 2nd.
The whiff of the bat there. Talk about that with Carlos. So animated when he plays the game. And I get it, man. I told you this. Somebody should be coming up with that cologne. Smells like a bat. Smells
Foul
like
tip.
Pine tar. Oh, pine tar cologne.
Oh, interesting. Is that a really good smell?
It's like Kramer's with the beach, right? Remember Kramer, of course, wanted to.
Yeah.
And his idea got stolen by who? Ralph Lauren, I think, stole it from him.
It's all right. It worked out for him. He ended up getting a modeling deal, I think, out of it.
That's right. I do enjoy the smell of pine tar. I think it'd be a good one. A couple of squirts. It's got to be for the right crowd. I would not for a formal event. Just a barbecue, maybe backyard wiffle ball game. That's when you would go with pine tar.
Tanaka's 1-1. This ball hit sharply foul. Well, when he's smelling the bat, like right now, watch, he fouled that one off. And typically after a foul ball, he likes to check for the spot. Now, I guess maybe it's a foul tip, right?
Yeah, foul tip is usually because then you'll smell the burnt wood, which does smell pretty cool.
Now that, to me, there's your cologne.
But he smelled that time walking up to the plate, so obviously he hadn't seen a pitch yet. So I think he's going more for the pine tar scent.
One out, nobody on. Gomez holds off. Now one an appeal, and Kerwin Danley, our umpire at first base, says nope.
Take a look here at the side. Carlos Gomez doing a nice job of keeping that barrel back. Yep, it was an excellent job. Nice call by Kerwin.
Tanaka, it's been a real struggle this year for him. But he talked a lot about this start. Days prior to this matchup, how much it meant to him. And he's pitching well tonight, and he strikes out Gomez for out number 2. Okay, join Positive Coaching Alliance Tuesday, June 27th for their Putt Putt for PCA fundraising event inspired by Insperity. If you believe in a positive character building experience for youth and high school athletes, join PCA on the 27th and help create better athletes and better people across North Texas. Just go to visit PCANorthTexas.org to learn more. That's actually, the visit's not on the website, which is part of the instruction. Misread. 2 gone here. Here is Lucroy. It seems as if all the hype, all the buildup, and whether most of it was on Tanaka's part or not, has helped him tonight. He has channeled some competitive juices apparently, because this is one of his better outings so far.
So obviously you're going up against a guy like you, Darvish, such a big name in Japan. So it's that whole deal there. But if you're a Yankee fan or Yankee management, coaches, you get a little frustrated because it doesn't change the hitters that you're facing. There's a good lineup obviously in Texas, and you're saying, well, has he found a way to get more locked in tonight because he's going up against, because of the other pitcher that he's going up against, right? And then you're saying, well, if that's the case, well, this doesn't really excuse for how the rest of the season has gone, right? If you're saying, well, I got this really good matchup and that's gotten me locked in. Now, if he continues to pitch well and has a nice game and goes on a nice roll, then sure, you can look at this game. It's okay. That was the one that got him turned around. He also mentioned making adjustments and not giving away any secrets, but just adjustments being made from his last start. But you see how his year has gone, then you see the guy that you're seeing tonight, and you can see where there'd be some frustration maybe on the side of the Yankees.
2-2 on Lucroy. Well, he has 5 strikeouts so far tonight. He's issued 1 walk and allowed 2 hits. Pitch count well in check at 61. And the 2-2 pitch off the plate.
Now we know Jonathan is a very difficult hitter. The strikeout, does a really good job putting the ball in play. Obviously, he's gotten a base hit already, but when it comes to 2 strikes, he is as good as anybody in the big leagues, especially getting the ball on the ground, giving himself a chance at a base hit. See a lot of other righties go chasing that last 2-2 pitch from Tanaka, but not Jonathan Lucroy.
Right in there. Strike 3 called. Lucroy down looking. 6 strikeouts for Tanaka. These Yankees faithful give him a nice round of applause. We're in New York City. No score halfway to the house. Some good pitching tonight as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. And TCU fans, Fox Sports Southwest want you to show your school spirit at a Texas Rangers game. You can get discounted tickets for the Wednesday, July 5th game against the Red Sox. And you'll also get a free Rangers cap in Orange Frog, purple, and white. Go to TexasRangers.com/TCU for details.
Take a look here at Yu Darvish and the pitches and how he has used those 56 so far. I mentioned it earlier because we saw the curveball, but he's backed off of that since then. 4 of his strikeouts have come on that slider, 1 on the curveball, so none on the fastball, but it's been the strike rate that has been really good on each of those pitches, and good to see from Yu Darvish. 71% overall, but 91% of his sliders have been strikes. Pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah, very impressive as he goes to work against Castro. Castro 0 for 1. There's that breaking ball again, and in there for a strike. That's the thing. He's gotten it called. He's gotten the swing and misses. Command today very sharp for Darvish. So just as we were talking about Tanaka dialing it up a little bit, looks like Darvish has used this a little to his advantage as well. He seems to be pretty focused.
Sure. Listen, you wonder how far they take it to some degree. You see the 41 strikes of the 59 pitches from Yu Darvish so far tonight, but Darvish was the man first. Before Tanaka, it was all about Yu Darvish. Now Yu Darvish came over here, got the big contract, but that was also, I just wondered a little bit about this kind of stuff once in a while. It was under the old rules, right? So when Yu Darvish came over, it was a 9-figure deal, but you know, he was about 51 million, then another 52 or so, something in that area went to the team, right? Well, when Tanaka came over, those rules had changed, and it was $20 million max, and you could negotiate with multiple teams. So he pocketed 3 times as much as Yu Darvish did. 155 million. I was wondering a little bit, you know, about how he may feel about that. I mean, we obviously have had guys go before Yu Darvish. Used to see him finishing off Castro here on the slower breaking ball. Good location, and really the big key there is the speed differential on this pitch. Good job by Yu Darvish picking up his 7th strikeout of the night. Right? Am I right? 7? How am I doing? I think that's right.
That is his 6th. He has become nearly unhittable at this point.
But you think, I mean, you know, the way that Tanaka got here and the way that Darvish got here from the financial side, it's kind of a little bit like, hey, man, don't forget, yeah, you might have raked in $100 million more than I did on your deal, but I want you to know I'm still the man.
This one lined up the middle by Gary Sanchez. So a base runner for the Yankees, the first since leadoff man Brett Gardner got on in the 1st inning. Here they are, back in Japan.
Battling each other a little bit. You see the Rakuten Golden Eagles, of course, the team for Tanaka, the Nippon Ham Fighters. Maybe one of the greatest names in all of sports,
no doubt, but
always a little bit confusing for people. That's what Darvish played for up in Hokkaido, Sapporo, Japan. Beautiful, beautiful part of the country. Very similar to Seattle. If you make the trip over to Japan, get up there, get on the train, go up to Sapporo. It's beautiful up there.
But they're not like upset with the ham. They're not fighting the ham.
They're not ham fighters. Nippon Ham is the name of the company. All the teams there are either corporate owned or corporate sponsored, so they'll have something attached to them. But a ham fighter would be like, yeah, just you picture like a canned ham out of the can,
yeah,
with arms and legs and super angry.
Right, I'm seeing,
which would be fantastic.
Getting the troops together. I mean, we got to stop this ham.
I don't know who is Ham's, you know, immediate enemy, right? Because they're obviously going to fight somebody else. Could be roast beef, bologna. I don't know. Not exactly sure.
Darvish buries one to Gregorius. The count 1-1. So you gave up the hit to Sanchez a moment ago. First base runner he's had to contend with since Gardner in the 1st. 6 strikeouts so far tonight. Tanaka referred to Darvish as an inspiration when he was pitching in Japan. Darvish was the guy they all looked up to. And though he didn't come out and say it quite as extreme as you might, it sounded like he might have idolized him just a little bit, which you would understand. He was a dominant pitcher in Japan, came stateside, was dominant here. Tanaka followed his lead. And a bouncing ball, second base. Odor quick flip second for one. Back to first in time, double play. The 4-6-3 ends the inning for Darvish. 5 scoreless so far tonight. We go to the 6th. Time for the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Our jackpot tonight, $600 in dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Rangers hitting for Rita tonight. If a Ranger hits a home run, well, she'll win $600. If they hit a grand slam, Rita wins $25,000. If they hit 2 home runs, CJ will try to pronounce her last name.
Do it right now, buddy.
Go ahead, give it a whirl.
I'm not scared like you. That's Nipstein. Or Knipstein.
What else you got?
Knipstein. I'm not sure. I think it's Nipstein. I think the K is silent.
Okay. It's not
scared.
It's Stein though. It's not.
Not
Steen?
scared. One of us in this booth was scared to say that last name. It was not me.
Which one?
It was Bob, stage manager. He was scared to death.
Oh man. All right, Mike Napoli leading it off here in the 6th. And hits this one in the air, right field. Judge is there, 1 away. Little observation. As I look out to right field from our vantage point, right field looks really, really small.
Sure.
And I mean, it is to some degree, but it's made smaller. It seems like Judge is too big.
You know what? It's a great point. That is a great point. He makes it look even smaller.
He does.
It's almost like who's the adult playing on the kids' field.
Exactly.
Right?
It doesn't quite look right from here.
Well, especially now as a great view. I don't know if you can see this from high home, but Torreyes went all the way over from third base to play the deep second base position. So in contrast for us, when we're looking at 5 foot, he's listed at 5'8". But no, 5'6". Yeah, because Altuve's 5'6", right?
5'6".
Yeah, so Torreyes was listed 2 inches taller at 5'8", which is under suspicion right now. But when you see the two of them, when you see Torreyes and then behind him, like perfectly from my angle,
right.
And then I see Aaron Judge, yeah, things are a little askew.
One and one on Gallo, who was carved up in the 3rd inning. Tanaka dispatched of him relatively easily.
He ended up actually going back with the cutter in. I thought maybe we were going to see a little bit more of the split finger. We only saw one split finger to Joey Gallo in that first at bat, and it was the cutter that he started using down and in.
Ball and 2 strikes on Gallo.
And it's kind of gone a little bit different in this at bat where it's gone split and then tried to elevate the fastball. Again, that's the thing about Tanaka. When he is on, there are so many different things that he can do. And you see Gary Sanchez out there talking to Tanaka. Now, he missed that ball. Nothing to do with Tanaka. That's not Gary Sanchez. That's no big deal. Nobody's on base. But interesting that they went back out there, maybe wanting to talk about how they want to do this, right? Whether it's throw the split finger now down after he elevated the fastball, and that would be the play for me. But he did strike Joey Gallo out on the good hard cutter in his first at bat.
Tanaka, we mentioned at the top, 21 home runs allowed this year. He's kept the Rangers in the yard so far. The 1-2. And it's tight. Neither starter has flinched yet tonight. Tanaka's pitch count, this will be number 70 for him. Most pitches he's used in an inning so far has been 19. And Gallo stays alive at 2-2.
Take a look at the pitch count here. This is unbelievable for Tanaka. You think about the year that he is having, the struggles that he has had. Now, it's been 16.2 pitches per inning. That's been his average this year. He obviously hasn't gotten there once through the first full 5. He's done a very nice job of managing the pitch count.
Correct myself, 14 pitches the most he's used in any inning, and he strikes out Gallo for the second out of the 6th. Okay, time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to John Radigan. They are circling the bases here. Meanwhile, it has been a pitcher's duel. 2 out, and Chu swings at strike 1.
You get a game like that, you get Ubaldo Jimenez, right? You never know. Ubaldo Jimenez is such an interesting guy in the sense that he can be great, he can be terrible, just off. 2 1/3, 9 earnings for him in that game. 9 earned runs and just 2 1/3.
That is no fun. A little tight on Chu. 1-1 the count. Rain starting to fall here at Yankee Stadium. We were delayed earlier tonight, an hour and 42 minutes. But have been able to play now 5+ innings before the rain has started for a second time. And Chu, little tapper, first base side. That's a tough play. It is Tanaka, though, hustling over to grab it and touch the bag ahead of Chu to win the inning. And it's another 1-2-3 for Tanaka.
This is a great play by Masahiro Tanaka. Not an easy thing to do. A slow dribbler to try to run full speed and pick this baseball up, and he completes the play on his own.
Time for the 4-game summary. Look at the starter comparison tonight. How about those lines? That is pretty impressive for both.
No doubt about it. Darvish and Tanaka going head to head for the first time ever at the big league level. They had 4 starts against each other in Japan, and now unfortunately for you, Darvish, here in his 6th inning, he's going to have to deal with some rain coming down pretty decent right now, so a little bit of a different feel potentially for him. You keep an eye on it, see if there's any struggles with the command.
Could see 8 and 9 hitters to start this 6th inning, and then back up top for the guy who has hurt him most in his career, and that is Brett Gardner. This ball hit well out to left field. Mazzara ranging to his right, hauls it in, 1 away.
Chris Carter hit that ball hard, but Nomar Mazzara does a nice job pulling it in, and luckily he got on top of this ball just a little bit because he stung it pretty well, and had he got under it and got a little bit more backspin, he might have had a chance to get out of here. See this pitch now, it's a slider that is up in the zone. I mentioned, I don't know if there's anything going on with Darvish as far as how it feels right now and getting a little bit more moisture that he has to deal with as he appreciates a nice play by Nomar Mazzara. Actually, yep, and left. We'll see. I don't think we're going to see, we're kind of right at the bottom as far as the rain clouds look or the cells look, so hopefully it won't be too bad.
Well, Topper to third. And just like that, Beltre turns away Torres.
Woo! Think of Ray. You have any good friends named Ray? Torres. That'll get you there. Not too bad. But just kind of looking at the radar and seeing what we have here. It does look like we're kind of right at the bottom of it here in the Bronx. And there's some really heavy stuff. It looks like it's going to be hitting the stadium around 1 a.m. I do not plan on being here at that time.
You might be, though. It looked like that rain had stopped like during that at bat. And it picked right back up again. It was really coming down for Carter. But now here's Brett Gardner. We were just talking about how tough he has been against Darvish in his career. He's 1 for 2 today. In the out, it was a ball hit to right field, and that was well struck. He had a base hit in the 1st inning. He now has 6 hits against Darvish, hitting over .450 against him. 4 of the 6 hits have been home runs. That's 1-1. So this is the one guy, when you look at this matchup, you circle Gardner and his spot at the top of the order and say, be careful here. Breaking ball fouled off for the count 1-2.
Take a look at you. Darvish, his pitches by inning also has done an excellent job. He's been 16.6 this year. That's been his average pitches per inning. He hasn't gone over that once. 15 has been his highest so far. Did that in the first couple of innings. So he has been excellent as well. These two guys just battling back and forth right now.
1-2 pitch. Strike 3 called, and he turns Gardner back to the dugout. Big strikeout for you, Darvish. A 7-pitch 6th inning.
Well, this had to feel pretty good for you, Darvish. We talked about the struggles against Brett Gardner, but a little cutter backdoor that just catches the strike zone. No score here in the Bronx with the Rangers and the Yankees knotted at 0. And good news, you get to take a trip to Margaritaville. That'll be on Friday, July 7th, when the Rangers host the Angels. Pre-game tailgate party with live music and cold drinks. Sounds good right about now. And Margaritaville-inspired Rangers t-shirts. There's also going to be post-game fireworks that'll be set to Jimmy Buffett's music. Tickets are available at texasrangers.com/theme nights.
It's looking a little more like Gilligan's Island tonight. 7th inning, and Elvis Andrus lashes one foul. He is 1 for 2.
All right, so check this out. This is fun, right? It's been a fun matchup so far. Both guys 6 innings. Both guys 2 hits allowed, no runs. Tanaka does have a walk. Both 7 strikeouts. 73 pitches for Darvish, 74 for Tanaka.
Wow.
I mean, how about it?
That's
no guy
even.
has thrown more than 15 pitches in any inning. Certainly not expected, I think, from either one of these guys. So it has been neck and neck. Now, I don't know what happened here, but I tweeted it out. You ever notice I don't use Twitter a little bit, and every once in a while I'll say, hey, translate this from this. I mean, I wrote it in perfect English. Twitter is giving you the opportunity to translate that from Haitian Creole for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that's what it says. So if you see my tweet, I don't know what to make of that part.
I don't either. A little high to Elvis, 1 and 2. Maybe if you just did all of your tweets in your native tongue, you wouldn't want into these.
But that was English, maybe, yeah. To pay back for using a little Google Translate.
Andrus with a bouncer at third base.
Oh.
Nice diving stop. Correa sent us to first. In time. Wow.
And immediately Jeff Bannister has the hand up, and they're going to potentially take a peek at this. They're going to look at it up in the Rangers dugout at first and decide whether or not they want to challenge this. This was a tremendous play, though, by Torres, but I don't know. We'll see. It looked like Elvis Andrus might have got there. Here comes the replay. See the ball there? Nope. Chris Carter with the scoop just before Elvis Andrus gets that left foot on the back. So tremendous play there by Torres. We know Chase Headley is usually playing third base, but that is an in-between back pick. It's a 2-hop throw, but it doesn't matter. He got it there on target. A nice little pick there as well by Chris Carter. Not
Yeah, I mean, might be Carter who made the great play.
Yeah.
That's tough on that end as well. Don't forget for a moment, Andrus had really moved down the line. So 1 out. And Mazzara, who was 0 for 2, struck out in the first, flat out of the 4th inning. And a whole 0-1. Now this game continues to creep into the late innings, and both starters continue to deal. You wonder 2 things. A, which manager flinches first and goes to his bullpen? And B, you know, it's a game where one swing ultimately could be the difference, and you could see that being the only portion of the game that would end up mattering. 1 and 2 the count on Mazzara.
Yeah, these kind of games always have that sort of feel, right, where it's going to be either one bad pitch where a guy capitalizes on it, especially because of the short porch here in right field. Some left-handed hitters in this Ranger lineup, of course. They always throw out the good lefties in there. There's 4 of them in there tonight. 3 for the Yankees, including the switch hitter Aaron Hicks. But yeah, it does feel like it could be one of those.
Ball up the middle. Gregorius with a good spinning stop and throw, and he gets Mazzara. 2 really nifty defensive plays by this Yankees infield in the 7th.
And Chris Carter does it again as well, and this ball was in the dirt and does a nice job on the pick. Now Didi was there. He's playing up the middle because of the way that they had the shift. You see him right there, so he doesn't have to range very far, but picks it clean. Now he had plenty of time on this throw, but Chris Carter saves the day. Even gives a little bit of a look out at Didi Gregorius, I'm sure, in good fun, and saying, listen, man, I'm working my tail off over here. Maybe you can make it a little bit easier for me.
So bases empty, 2 out for Adrian Beltre.
Going back to what you were saying, it's either, you know, could be the long ball, it could be the mistake in the field. Now the Yankees just did a really nice job. 2 strong defensive plays right there, but these kind of games always have that feel like who's gonna blink first, who's going to make the first mistake.
Beltre swings and hits this one to left field, but not going to carry. Brett Gardner is there, and it completes a 1-2-3 inning for Tanaka again. They stand and stretch, no score. Is brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more.
Well, still no score here. It's the bottom of the 7th inning between the Rangers and the Yankees. A little bit of a rain delay today, and now all of a sudden the rain has kind of trickled back in. But let's take a look at our AT&T high-speed replay. It has been all about Masahiro Tanaka and Yu Darvish going head-to-head. You're going to see Tanaka here with a couple of his strikeouts. The slider has been very good tonight. It's been 7 strikeouts through 6 innings. And on the other side, Masahiro Tanaka matching Darvish inning by inning. He has now gone 7 innings with 7 strikeouts as well. Has not a lot of run, but has 1 walk. So it's basically 3 base runners for Tanaka, just 2 for Yu Darvish. You see the lines there right now as these guys are just battling it out right now. And I got to tell you this, the ratings have to be awesome in Japan right now because people were very excited to see these 2 guys go at it. Of course, it was supposed to be an 8 a.m. start in Japan. The rain delay probably helped out a little bit, but it's Saturday morning there. And how about Darvish head making the trip? We'd asked him about it. You can't carry that on. How did he get it here?
I don't know.
That does not fit in the overhead bin unless you buy it a ticket. You can't check it either, right? You can't trust those guys unless you're going to wrap it in bubble wrap and put fragile stickers all over it.
Dude, it's Darvish head. He can do what he wants.
That's amazing. What do you think is cheaper, dealing with trying to fly that thing from Dallas or just making another one when you get here?
Probably making another one.
That's what I'd do. I'd head down to Kinko's. And they'd be like, what?
Order in advance.
Yeah.
They're waiting when you get there.
But that's the same one because they had the wrinkles, right? That definitely, that was the same one that was in Dallas.
Well, the real Darvish has been great so far tonight, and he will have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters from the Yankees in this 7th inning. First time in Major League history that 2 Japanese opening day starters face off against one another. A meaningful night for both Darvish and Tanaka.
I've said they match each other, and they have. It's been really good. Tanaka only threw 10 pitches in that last inning. I start to wonder a little bit if Darvish could pull something close to that trick where he gets through the 7th, throws up another 0, but also is able to keep the pitch count down. He's been excellent tonight.
This ball hit way foul out of play. 1-1 on Aaron Hicks. Well, in his last inning, Darvish threw 7 pitches. So they have both had moments of absolute brilliance tonight. Hicks, a strikeout and a ground out, 0 for 2. Darvish, 30 years old, 6'5", and a breaking ball swung on and missed. Strike 2.
Now, what's so great about this, that if this game was actually happening while these 2 guys were playing in Japan, they'd only be about halfway to their potential pitch count. They would let these guys, I've seen it, go 140 in games like this. Now, they only play a maximum of, I think it's 12 innings. They've made some adjustments to those rules. But they would let them go regardless.
Strike 3 called. Hicks is a strikeout victim in the 7th inning. Number 8 for Darvish.
Fastball command always a point of conversation with Yu Darvish. It can get away from him at times. He's talked about it, but not tonight. This is a pinpoint fastball on the outside corner, and there is nothing Aaron Hicks can do except watch strike 3.
So now Aaron Judge. This is the head-to-head matchup everybody was hoping for and looking forward to tonight. The pitcher-hitter duel between Darvish and Aaron Judge. Judge struck out swinging in the 1st, rolled out to short in the 4th. This ball hit foul, third base side. Judge, 2nd in the American League at a .331 average, 1st with his 25 home runs. See those 57 RBIs? Those lead the American League as well. A monstrous season for the rookie.
Oh,
way out in front. Had the count 0-2.
And it's a great time to break it out, obviously, because it works really well. But you get Aaron Judge in front. But he was on that fastball at 94, the pitch before hits the foul ball. And then you come back and you throw that little curveball in there with unbelievably low velocity. You got a big, strong power hitter, and that's the right time, and that was the right location.
Had him off balance all night. And his 2-strike pitch.
Ooh, back to back with the slower break. I thought maybe he would elevate the fastball there. Now that one got away from you, Darvish, a little bit. This one stayed up in the zone. I was watching Jonathan Lucroy. I'm surprised on an 0-2 count that he was over the plate as much as he was and in the middle. But he has slowed it down now twice. I like the high fastball out of the zone. You got to be careful. He's a good high fastball hitter. Let's see where they decide to go. Oh, and that's a bad break right there for you, Darvish. You saw the way that Jonathan Lucroy was set up. He wanted the fastball up and away. You, Darvish, knew that he wanted the fastball up. Well, look how high he's sitting. So he ends up catching, but don't tell me that's not a strike. It is, but it's because of the way that Jonathan Lucroy was set up that ultimately ended up fooling the home plate umpire, Dan Isona.
Well, that's a killer. 2-2 now. The count to a very good hitter. Here it comes. Just missed again.
That's a nice job by Judge to be able to lay out that slider. But you're right, that the pitch before is a killer because you're grinding against one of the best hitters in the American League with tremendous power, and you feel like even though you missed your spot, you threw a strike, you didn't get the call, and you got to find a way to do it again. But look at this slider that's down, barely down. Finished lower, but across the plate, right near the bottom of the zone.
Darvish backed up against the wall a little bit here. He's allowed just 2 hits, no walks tonight. Pay off to Judge. Got him swinging. Number 9 tonight for Darvish. What a battle.
This is a great at-bat and one that you, Darvish, finishes off with some power and says, you know what? Here you go, big boy. 3-2 fastball right at him, and you see the reaction as well from you, Darvish. That was his best, 96. And I say best, yeah, we've seen him get up there a little bit higher with velocity at times, but at that moment, everything he had to get a good fastball at the knees right by Aaron Judge.
So 2 away, base is empty now for Matt Holliday. Holliday struck out his last time up, also rolled out to first. Veteran hitter.
Good against the fastball, still really strong, still has some power, so you, Darvish, has to be careful. 15 home runs on the year for Matt Holliday.
Good, and that's a strike, 1-1. This one foul away. A ball and 2 strikes on Holliday. 15 home runs this year for Holliday, a .271 average. Kind of interesting that they wouldn't have faced each other before in their careers. The mound getting a little damp. Bottom of the 7th inning. Great pitchers duel going tonight. Fastball, and that one just missed. Woo. You see a little grimace on Darvish's face, I think.
Well, you see the Fox
like
tracks.
he got it.
Yeah, and you see 3 pitches in the zone, and now it's been a couple that he felt probably should have been called against good hitters as he's grinding out this 7th inning and digging a little bit deeper. That's when it can get a little frustrating. That's when you got to be careful you don't come back and overthrow a pitch.
Here's a 2-2. Got him swinging. So Holliday strikes out. Darvish punches out the side in order in the 7th. The big right-hander against his former countryman Tanaka, and he is dealing tonight.
pitcher's duel. As you see, no score, just 4 hits allowed. But let's go back and take a look at one of the funner at-bats to watch so far tonight. It's Darvish and Aaron Judge in the 7th inning. It's a 2-seam fastball at 94 miles an hour. The slow curve at 65. You see another slow curveball here at 65, excuse me, 71 prior to that. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. A slider that just misses down, and Darvish in a full count says, here it is, get after it. And it's 96 miles an hour blown past the powerful Aaron Judge, keeping this game knotted at 0. The grounds crew working hard to keep the mound and the home plate area dry, and Masahiro Tanaka is back out there for his 8th inning of work.
Well, Darvish, a 10 strikeout game, 31st in his career, 3rd time this year he's done it. Tanaka, meanwhile, he has been getting ahead of hitters. 21 of 23 first pitch strikes tonight. So both guys firing strikes, pitching beautifully tonight as this one goes to the 8th inning. Take a look at our progressive upcoming schedule. We have 2 more here in New York, both day games. Tomorrow, our coverage beginning at 11:30 for a noon game. And then coverage begins at 12:30 in the afternoon on Sunday for what will be a 1:05 game Central Time. Then it's off for the first of 4 games in Cleveland, Monday to Thursday against the Indians. Doug Brocail on the phone to that bullpen. So both starters so far today have kept those pitch counts in check.
Yeah, nobody up in either bullpen. Masahiro Tanaka has not seen the 8th inning since that start he had on April 27th against the Red Sox. I mentioned the complete game shutout that he had, 3-hitter that he threw against the Red Sox, but he has not seen the 8th inning since. It's been a rough go of it for him. That call down to that Ranger bullpen, probably a little bit more of if he gets in trouble, it could be this guy, just kind of letting guys know who it might be. Let them start thinking about it a little bit, start stretching. Good communication is always a plus between your pitching coach or manager and your bullpen.
Odor tops one foul to begin things in the 8th inning. Rookie 0 for 2. Rangers have just 2 hits tonight. Andrus with a single in the 1st. Lucroy with a base hit in the 3rd. Third inning, there was a moment there where you thought, well, maybe here's the big opportunity. There's an infield hit and a walk. Gallo struck out. Chu bounced into a double play, and just like that, the threat was gone. Now Odor in a whole 0-2.
That's a good pitch. That one that dives down and away. I mentioned it to Joey Gallo as well. Good pitch to Rougned Odor. But the thing that we talked about at the beginning of this game was the 2.5 home runs per 9 that Masahiro Tanaka was allowing, and I wouldn't mind seeing some of that. How'd you get there? Show us the way.
The windup in the 0-2. Odor doing good battle.
We wanted that fastball up and away. Ended up being a little bit more up and in, but Odor does a nice job of fighting it off. Well, I might be wrong. Tanner Shepard is up right now. If he's throwing before there are any outs, it's a little bit of an indicator that there's an outside chance there could be a change, or if they want him ready by the 2nd hitter.
Strikeout of Odor, 1 away in the 8th inning. Okay, time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back again to John Radigan. All right, thanks, John. 1 away here. And Carlos Gomez, who is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Holds off and takes a strike. Gomez had the big swings yesterday. Today has taken some big swings, but just come up empty. It's 0-2.
You see both of those pitches out of the strike zone, and when Masahiro Tanaka is on, he has that kind of stuff that aggressive hitters will go after. It's late movement. I mentioned it earlier. It's in different directions as well. The split goes down. The cutter will go away to a righty. The two-seam fastball will run in. And he also can run that four-seam fastball. That'll be straight usually when he's on where he wants to throw it.
This ball hammered foul.
What do you get a look at Carlos Gomez's reaction after he hit this ball? I think he was begging a little bit that this thing would be fair because it would have been a double. But watch him here after he hits this now. They wanted it down and said, yeah.
Two-strike pitch. Got him swinging. So back-to-back Ks in the 8th inning for Tanaka. He's at 9 strikeouts for the night. And watch every out-of-market regular season game live on MLB.TV Premium and on over 400 supported devices. Plus, you get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Just go to MLB.TV for details. Two out in the 8th. Tanaka at 92 pitches, and Lucroy serves one into center field. That drops in, base hit. Oh, the Rangers have a base runner in the 8th on Tanaka.
Last time the Rangers had a hit, it was Jonathan Lucroy back in the 3rd inning, and then there was a walk by Mike Napoli afterwards. But other than that, they haven't seen a base runner since that 3rd inning, and this is good to see. Even though the ball wasn't hit hard, you take a base hit any way that you can get it right now. And the idea of bringing Mike Napoli to the plate, we talked about the success that he has had against Tanaka over the course of his career. A couple of home runs came in tonight, 7 for 13. We love that Jonathan Lucroy was able to find a way to extend the inning.
Now Napoli, who worked a walk earlier tonight, and he takes strike 1.
That's going to help Masahiro Tanaka right there. That ball looked like it was near the bottom of the zone. We'll go back to what we saw with the pitch that was missed against Aaron Judge. Certainly that pitch that Darvish threw was a lot higher than the one that Tanaka threw just there.
Napoli's been swinging with some good power lately. 14 home runs, and he takes it low. 1-1 the count. Now activity for the Yankees. Aroldis Chapman begins to throw. 2 out in the 8th.
You see that there. He is actually throwing, if I'm not mistaken, a heavy baseball right now. That thing is not white. That's either blue or black, that ball that he's throwing. I don't know how heavy of a one he uses. It looks like that could be anywhere 10 to 12 ounces. That thing's not white in his hand, right?
No.
Yeah, there it is, that heavy baseball. Now you go to that thing and it feels like a feather. If you're the catcher, that's fun, because now you got a guy who throws a billion and the ball feels like it weighs 2 ounces. And you're like, all right, where's this going to go? But this is what he does. This is his routine. There's a lot of theories back and forth, both positive and negative, on heavy ball use. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You don't get the same results for everybody, but for Aroldis Chapman, he likes throwing that thing. Now some will just, Mariano used to just hold one and play with it out in the bullpen. I played it with him for a little while, and he just liked having it out there in his hand. I used to throw one in college a little bit. I like the way it felt on my arm, but everybody's different. But hard to argue with the success that Aroldis Chapman has had.
Well, this may indeed be it for Tanaka. And the fans here, 39,602 at Yankee Stadium. The majority on their feet. 2 out in the 8th. Lucroy at first base. Pitch to Napoli. It's low and a full count. And that will get Sanchez out to the mound. It doesn't look like we're going to get there tonight. And I had just recently thought to myself, when was the last time that you had both starting pitchers go the distance in a big league game?
Cool. That's a good question.
2000. I do have the answer. 2014.
Wow.
Julio Teheran, Cliff Lee.
Of course, Cliff Lee. Shocker. That's unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Who threw the 8 innings? Or did they both throw 9?
They both went 9.
Oh, wow.
3-2. And that is low ball 4. Napoli is on. Lucroy goes to second. And the potential first run of the game is in scoring position in the 8th.
How real is the temptation right now for Joe Girardi? You see him talking with his pitching coach and Larry Rothschild and thinking about what he wants to do. And he has seen Masahiro Tanaka struggle a lot recently. All of a sudden he's on out of nowhere, but it's been that kind of game. You got a tremendous lefty in the bullpen. You got a lefty up right now in Joey Gallo. That's certainly not a favorable matchup necessarily, although Joey does hit high velocity really well. But he's looking at a different Masahiro Tanaka, not the guy that he has seen over the last couple of months, and you're kind of in a bind here. But he's going to give him the ace treatment. He's going to give him the opportunity to finish this inning.
I think you could argue he's earned that right tonight. 2 men out there, and Gallo swings and hits this one on the ground. Castro on top of it, and that ends the inning. And that young man's going to get a nice round of applause from the folks here in the Bronx. Tonight, bottom of the 8th inning here at Yankee Stadium. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean, Crisp, Coors Light. Rangers bullpen last 7 games, stout.
Done a great job. So important to the success of this team. We know it was an issue earlier when this year started. Also a different look, right? A couple of guys in the DL, a couple of guys not here anymore. And so it's been some different arms that have been getting it done right now for Jeff Bannister. But these guys have been throwing the ball extremely well, and they're going to get tested here in a tie game as the Rangers go to the bullpen in the bottom of the 8th inning.
So Darvish hit 88 pitches. It struck out the last 4 he had faced.
He was throwing the ball well. I'm surprised. I mean, I just love seeing him go toe-to-toe with Masahiro Tanaka and wish that we got to see him go one more to see if they could match up a little bit through 8. But for whatever the reason, they decided that was enough for Yu Darvish.
Sheppers against Castro, Gary Sanchez, and Didi Gregorius, and that one's a strike. It's 1-1.
We'll take a look here at the arsenal for Tanner Sheppers. This is what he did last year, where it was the heavy fastball usage at 77%.
Breaking ball bounced short. Andrews is there. 1 away. So to me, this underscores again that the challenge of witnessing 2 pitchers going the distance in a major league game. When you have a guy who was plowing the way Darvish was at 88 pitches, but he's out as you go to the 8th inning. Part of it is, yes, pitchers, you know, just simply don't have the strength, the ability to keep pitch counts low enough to go deep in games. Part of it sometimes is the way games are managed And we don't know. Maybe Darvish, maybe there was something going on there physically tonight.
You never know. I mean, it certainly didn't look it, but you always have to be careful. You don't want to guess necessarily from the outside.
Darvish, or rather Shepherd's, plunks Gary Sanchez and puts a key man on base in this 8th inning.
We saw the first pitch to Starlin Castro that ran up and in, and then this one catches Sanchez right on that left elbow. He doesn't wear a guard. You see so many guys that wear that armor, and so that stung a little bit for Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, he gets a little assistance down at first base.
Longtime trainer Steve Donahue. He was a trainer when I was a kid. Up here.
That is a long time ago.
Him and G. Monahan were trainers forever. He was now taking over, and you see Tanaka standing there with that towel on. He may be going back out for the 9th. He's at an even 100. And you're right. I mean, the way that this thing was shaping up, it felt like you were going to get 2 starters that had a chance to go 9. But like I said, for whatever the reason, I'm sure we'll find out after the game that Jeff Bannister decided he had seen enough from Yu Darvish.
So the man on, Didi Gregorius. 0 for 2 tonight. He bounced into a double play his last time up. Shepherds would gladly take that result right here. 1 out with a man on. And this one ripped foul. For strike 2. Steve Donahoe, by the way, the trainer. This is
first, what year?
39th consecutive season.
So he started when I was 5 and you were 3. Right? 42 years old?
Something like that. It's a swing and a miss. Had to count 1 and 2 on Gregorius.
That's an amazing run. That's an area where you don't necessarily see the high turnover. There is high turnover everywhere else in this game. Players, managers, coaches, sometimes broadcasters, but not the trainers. The trainers, if you do a good job, you can have that job for a long time.
1-2, and this one lifted down the left field line, foul and out of play. Well, look out.
And what some people may not know, very interesting about the trainers, is they actually get service time. So that's a great deal for them as well. If you're fortunate enough, now it's a tough job to get, right? There's only 2 or 3 trainers per team. And I believe that number's only at 2 that actually get major league service time. So you're in the Major League Baseball players pension plan. You get to 10 years, man. You are sitting pretty as a trainer. Steve Donahue has done it 4 times over.
Shepherds up and away. I wanted 95 miles per hour, but it's 2-2 on Didi Gregorius. What an opening act in this 3-game weekend series in New York. Darvish, 7 shutout, has turned it over to his bullpen. Masahiro Tanaka, 8 shutout for the Yankees. And another hard hit foul ball. Stays 2-2. Yeah, you come into this game and the Yankees have struggled lately. We talked about it in the open today. Lost 8 of their last 9 games, but boy, they score a lot of runs. They hit a lot of home runs. Powerful, high-octane offense. One of the greatest ever here in New York. Rangers have been scoring a lot of runs this year, hitting a lot of bombs. But tonight it's been about pitching.
And it was pretty easy to feel comfortable that the Rangers were going to come in and score some runs off of Masahiro Tanaka based on both of those trends, right? He's been struggling. The Rangers have been hot offensively, and that's just one of the great things about our game is just you never know what's going to happen, especially you take a guy like Tanaka who's got a track record and he's done that and he's pitched like a true ace, but then he could pop up out of nowhere. Now we've seen you also get it from pitchers who maybe even don't have the track record, who out of nowhere shut down a really good offense. So it does happen, but certainly not what we were expecting.
There's a swing and a miss, and Gregorius strikes out for the 2nd out of the 8th inning.
Well, this was a good at-bat by Didi, but ultimately Tanner Scheppers finishes him off with a good live fastball. You see the movement, this ball moving away. That's not a sinker, that's a two-seam, right? Because it runs and it stays horizontal and finishes just off the plate, but good life on that pitch.
Two away now for Chris Carter.
So it's been 3 right-handed hitters in this inning so far that have all seen fastballs up and in that have been pretty close. One to Castro, and then the one to Gary Sanchez that hit him, and then that one to Chris Carter right there. That gives you an idea what the life looks like too in the movement on a good fastball from Scheppers tonight.
That one hits a corner. So 1-1 on Chris Carter. Carter, a guy who does strike out with a pretty remarkable frequency in his career. He's actually kept it fairly well in check this year. 67 strikeouts. Breaking ball in strike 2. Last year, Carter struck out 206 times with the Brewers. Several years ago, 2013, when he was with the Astros, struck out 212 times. The 1-2. And did he go? He did. That is another strikeout. Scheppers posts 2 more. We go to the 9th at Yankee Stadium. 0-0.
This is a great job by Tanner Scheppers, taking advantage of the aggressive Carter slider out of the zone. His second strikeout of the inning.
Ninth inning, top of the order coming for the Rangers. Tomorrow, our AT&T matchup. How about this? Mike Napoli, Aaron Judge. A couple of sluggers trying to lead their team back here at Yankee Stadium. Maybe tomorrow we see a little more offense. Early start. We'll have the pregame beginning at 11:30 on Fox Sports Southwest. We hope you will join us for the middle game of this 3-game series. Well, Tanaka is done, and Aroldis Chapman is on for the 17th time.
You see the numbers there. 1 blown save so far this year. Did miss a little bit of time. That's why it's only been 16 games so far this year from Chapman. But you may have heard this. His fastball average is 99.5 miles an hour. Let's just call it an even 100. He uses it 74% of the time. And then it's that nasty slider that he has as well. That'll be at around 87 miles an hour, and even an occasional changeup just to make things even a little more difficult for hitters. But the fastball this year averaging, I like to round up with those. I'm not a big fan of the decimal points when we talk about velocity. An even 100 miles an hour.
Just saw something the other day where he threw the fastest recorded pitch of the season. I think it was just under 104 miles per hour.
It's ridiculous.
He has the top of the order here. Chu, who's 0 for 3. But a difficult man to keep off the bases for an entire evening. He shows bunt, and that one off of Sanchez's glove to the backstop.
And the bunt never a bad idea. But you talk about an uncomfortable at bat. for lefties. And here's Chu right now trying to hang in there against plus velocity in the back of his mind, wondering, will I see 104 today, or will I see that nasty slider? It is pretty incredible.
This one fouled away at 100 miles per hour. It is 1-1. Chapman 6'4", 212 pounds. Some lightning in that left arm of his, 29 years old. Cuban born. Defected to the U.S. And this is his second season with the Yankees. And Chu fouls it away again. The count 1-2.
I start looking at velocities, and there's great information that is available to us. And looking at just fastballs at 97 and higher. So far this season, Chu's actually done a pretty nice job. 4 for 9, 444 batting average in those situations. So there's been a couple of these Rangers hitters that have been able to get to good velocity, and they'll get to test their skills here in the ninth.
The 1-2. That is high. Chu seems so unflappable at times. As good as there is at picking up the baseball and determining ball strike out of a pitcher's hands. Chapman's 2-2, and he fouls off yet another. Of course, Chapman spent the better part of his career in the National League. Mentioned last year with the Yankees. Came over from the Cubs. Chu's seen a little of him. 1 for 2 against him. And stays alive at 2-2.
Just fouled off 102 like it was nothing, and really a check swing. This pitch looked like it probably was going to be in the strike zone, but registering at 102, and Chu was actually asking the Oakland umpire there if that was a strike or not. It probably was, but you see that little swing, and this is what he does. I mean, it's 6 pitches. He'll see number 7 now against Chapman, and so far has put together a good at bat.
Here it comes again, and that one in there for strike 3. And there's that breaking ball. Chu goes down looking, 1 away in the ninth.
Fans, on Saturday, July 8th, the Rangers will be playing the Angels. That game's going to be at 8:05, and we're going retro for Turn Back the Clock Night. The first 15,000 fans 14 and older get a Mike Napoli powder blue replica jersey. That's going to be courtesy of Fox Sports, Southwest, and Southwest Airlines. Those tickets are available at TexasRangers.com. There's Mike Napoli. Be great if they made them wear, right, the powder blue with all of, and everyone had to wear a Mike Napoli jersey. Now, that would be really confusing.
I'm on board. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, like, I mean, just listen, Jackie Robinson Day can be a little difficult on us sometimes. Everyone wearing 42. You should see Mike Napoli there. Anxious, excited at his chance at facing Aroldis Chapman, maybe?
I wonder what that is in the dugout.
Let me in there. Get me in there. It's like the guy that stands on the back of the pile in the fight. Let me at him. But really, no, I don't know. Now, Mike Napoli is scared of no one. I don't say that about him at all. But just in general, I don't know if there's too many guys in this league that say, yeah, I mean, I love those at-bats against Aroldis Chapman. Man, I look forward to that. It's fun.
Andrews 1 for 3 tonight. Of course, that work was done against Tanaka. A little bit in. It's 2-1. It's the first that Elvis has seen of Chapman. He's standing in the batter's box himself. Chapman famously was unraveling a bit in a game last year in the 9th inning. That one shot down the right field line. That's a base hit. Karams out to the right fielder Judge, who gets there quickly enough that Andrews has to stop at first. But a hit off Aroldis Chapman. Rangers have a man on.
Well, you know that Elvis Andrews is thinking, could this be a potential double off the bat. It's hit right down the line, but you'll see this ball just take that perfect bounce to Aaron Judge, who does have a very good arm. I didn't realize I didn't see that live. He caught that ball barehanded. That's a little bit risky, so that ball must have come off the wall a little bit different than he was expecting, the way that he was running in. Man, if he misses that, that's a triple.
So, base runner now. And Andrews, who does like to run, boy, he barely stays on the bag. Look at that, he almost strided over the bag. Kept a heel on though. But you know, he likes to run. Chapman, with his electric stuff, can occasionally throw one away. And so this is a spot now. Once you get a man on against Chapman, you've got a real shot at getting him into scoring position, and who knows, maybe more.
He has allowed 2 stolen bases. Obviously a little bit tougher, being that he throws hard. First of all, gives Gary Sanchez a pretty good chance, and he's lefty and he's got that advantage as well. Now, it's not necessarily very quick to the plate, so he could be one of the guys that you treat as, you know what, first move, or as soon as you see that leg come up, you take off. That's one way that you can beat him. A little bit risky. How'd you like to be Chris Carter over first base, knowing that you got
thank you,
mid to upper 90s coming at you right here?
He's had an eventful night as it has been. Some of the throws from his infielders, but he's handled them well. Starting to mention though, last year was really almost 1 year ago. Just about 6 days short of the event when Chapman was out of that 9th inning of a game that got rain delayed. It was rain delayed at the start. The two teams played late into the night. More rain came in the middle innings, and then in the 9th inning, Chapman was struggling mightily, and it looked like the Rangers were about to mount the improbable comeback, and all of a sudden the game went into a delay, and it went 3.5 hours. And this one in there for a strike to count 1-1. At the time, it just felt wrong. It just felt like it was orchestrated to stop the Rangers rally. Really frustrating, and ultimately the game restarted. The Rangers would go on to a 9-6 win. And that seemed like a real turning point last year. Now Chapman on, goes 1-1 in this one. Just foul.
That was close. That's a good approach by Nomar Mazara. This is such a difficult at bat, so you try to think about getting it started quickly if you can. But look at him keep his head down. Talk about that a lot with Nomar Mazara. Very still with his upper body and his head. That's going to give him his best opportunity. But getting to 2 strikes against this lefty, and it's a huge challenge here for Nomar.
Mazara hanging in there, 1-2. Here's the pitch. And he fights off another one. Look down on that camera well down at the far end of the Rangers dugout. Man, that got in there in a hurry. A little delay to make sure everybody was okay down there. Now we're all set to keep going. Chu struck out looking. Andrews shot one right down the first baseline for a hit. We're in the 9th inning in a scoreless game. And time called. So we'll see another pitch.
Well, you see Dan Iasona really jump out of there, because how many times have you seen it where a pitcher's coming set, he's not looking at home, they've already called time, and then he looks home as he's getting ready to deliver. Everyone just kind of clearing out, just in case 100 would be coming their way.
1-2. Look out! And that one got Nomar. A breaking ball, though, fortunately for him. And Andrews now at second base. Mazara at first, hit by the pitch. The Rangers have a little something going now in this 9th inning.
Yeah, not exactly the way that you want it to go down, but you take the base runners any way that you can. And you're right, this was a slider that ultimately caught Nomar, looked like on his right hand, maybe a little bit on that forearm above the wrist, and reaction there, just happy to kind of get out of the way and not be anything more serious. But Chapman is actually trying to throw that down and away And he just didn't finish it all. And you see how badly he is sweating. It is a humid night here. And even though it's only a slider, it's still 86 miles an hour. I've got to believe that that stung a little bit.
Mazara at first base. Andrus out at second. And Adrian Beltre gets up. Now, Aroldis Chapman, he has just recently returned from that disabled list. Missed 33 team games with the shoulder problems. Activated last Sunday.
Now, Adrian, a good fastball, high velocity hitter. He actually hit a home run earlier this year on a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. So he certainly can get to the velocity. Came in at 99, went out at 101. So certainly a guy that if he gets it in the right spot can catch up to the Aroldis Chapman fastball. I'm trying to remember who that was off of. As great as this information is, it does not say who actually hit that ball.
1-1 to count. More heat.
Oh, it was Ken Giles, wasn't it?
Well, that would be a good candidate.
Yep. Ken Giles was the guy he hit that home run off of. Back on June 2nd.
Well, he's got some good heat to deal with right here. A little more than what Ken Giles typically comes with. But he also has a man at second and a man at first with 1 out. Runners going. Pitches a strike to throw down to third. Not in time. Andrus 90 feet away.
Well, Nomar Mazara ended up not going on this. And wow, this is a risky play that almost really turned into a great one and a big favor from Gary Sanchez as this throw almost got away from Torreyes. Now, was a slider called a strike? You see the throw there, but see Nomar, despite the big lead, kind of held off, wasn't sure. But look at Torreyes saving that throw. It was a little bit up the line and in fair territory, and obviously that gets by Torreyes, and we would have seen the first run of the game.
That is a huge stolen base now, because we were talking earlier about the style of pitching of Aroldis Chapman with the sliders at such extreme velocity. His fastballs, they can get away from a catcher in a hurry. And now Andrus just 90 feet away and could dart home in such a spot.
I think for Nomar, I was in a called steal, so he wasn't 100% sure. And sometimes you're trying to read the runner in front of you, and he didn't see it. And he thought it was better off to play it safe and not go.
1-2 pitch. And that one gets away. Here comes Andrus. He's down, and he's safe. And the Rangers lead it 1-0 in the ninth.
Well, you just mentioned it, the possibilities of what could happen in a situation where you have a runner on third and how at times Aroldis Chapman can unravel. Now, this was a strikeout for Adrian Beltre as he went swinging at this pitch, but it was down in the dirt. Gary Sanchez was unable to stop it. And you see it there. He had the glove turned the wrong way, was not anticipating this ball being that far down. And Elvis Andrus with his legs. First a base hit down the right field line, but great use of the legs and the speed, the good secondary, great read, and he beats the Sanchez throw home, and whatever it takes to get a run on the board, the Rangers will take it. That was ruled a pass ball.
Yeah, interesting.
That's a little aggressive for me as far as, listen, you expect catchers to make plays, but that's a fastball at 101 miles an hour that missed its location, was pretty much down right at the dirt, in the dirt, sort of. And yes, Gary Sanchez did not have his glove in the right spot, but man, that's a tough call to go down with a pass ball against Gary Sanchez, his 5th of the year.
2 out, and that one up and away, gets away from Sanchez again, and Mazara holds second base. Two away, 2 strikeouts for Chapman. The Rangers have scored the first run of the game. Now then you immediately start thinking about, can they get one more? And also you look ahead to that bottom of the 9th inning. 9th place hitter, then top of the order as Matt Bush continues to get ready. 1-0. Ooh, a high strike call, 1-1.
Odor didn't like that call, and I think understandably so. It's tough enough as it is to try to hit 99 to 102 off of a left-hander, but you feel like you take in a pitch that was out of the zone, and it was. Then you have it called a strike. It's pretty discouraging.
Rookie's 0 for 3. Up and in again, and it's 2-1. Chapman muttering a little something to himself as he goes back to that rosin bag.
Look at his hat.
Yeah, that is brutal.
Throw the rosin right on top of that thing. I mean, he's looking out there, and it's looking like it's probably raining to him. I don't know if the turtleneck helps either.
Yeah, the long sleeves. Fell back 2-2.
Some guys, regardless of temperature, regardless of humidity, they just have certain kind of clothes they want to wear. They wear them no matter what the situation is. That seems a little nuts to me, but everybody's different. Not going to argue with the success that Aroldis Chapman has had, but it is a steamy night here, and that hat probably weighs 15 pounds right now.
Well, he's losing some fluids, man.
That's unbelievable. And that, listen, this becomes, I mean, that is not dripping off. That is like a fountain. And what happens when your hands start getting sweaty like that and he's not using the rosin? I mean, that's a good, you can use it, it's legal, it's a huge advantage in these situations. How comfortable are you, if you're Odor or anybody else stepping in, knowing that all that liquid is just dripping off his hat? You worry about his ability to grip the baseball. And I think we're seeing it here, and you see all those ones where he missed up and in. We've seen sliders get away from him a little bit, and I'm thinking, man, just pick up the rosin. There we go.
Still bringing it at 102 on that last pitch to Odor. It's a pass ball this inning that has given the Rangers the first run of the game. 3-2. Odor fouls it right back at us. Count stays full.
Odor does have a base hit on a 99.5 mile-an-hour fastball earlier this year. It was against Joe Kelly. We were up in Boston at the end of May. Well, that one came in at 99.5 left at 108.8.
Chapman, this will be his 27th pitch of the inning, and it is on the way. Odor pops it up, third base side, and heading over to that dugout, and just beyond the reach of Torreyes.
That was close. I think he had a chance at that one. It started drifting on him a little bit more. It almost caught a pretty expensive camera. See where he is now, but then he has to start to fade back a little bit, and ends up just missing, yeah, out of his reach, but catches the top of the bar right there that goes across and kind of separates the dugout from the camera well. So yeah, maybe just out of his reach.
Another extended at bat for Odor, and he hits this ball on the ground, second base. Castro to his right, throws out Rugi. Inning is over, but the Rangers finally break through. The speed of Elvis Andrus stealing third and coming home on the pass ball. It's 1-0.
third baseman, number 74, Ronald.
Last of the ninth inning, 1-0. Rangers leading, and Matt Bush has come on to pitch.
Well, take a look here at Matt Bush. I think this is pretty interesting. Now, we know about his pitch arsenal. We know about the great fastball, but there's been some changes for him as of late. 80% fastballs through his first, or nearly 80% fastballs through his first 21. But recently, the last 5, he's actually dropped the fastball usage. It's been more about the slider and the curveball. So he's gone to his off-speed stuff a little bit more. And the idea there, more often than not, when you do that, is to try to get guys off your fastball. Yes, he throws hard, but these hitters can hit good fastballs. And so a few more breaking balls as of late, as Matt Bush is making some adjustments in the closer role.
And his first offering gets away. Bush gets the 9th place hitter for Reyes, and then to the top for Brett Gardner and Aaron Hicks. Great start by both Yu Darvish and Masahiro Tanaka tonight. Darvish, another 10 strikeout game, his 3rd of the year, 31st of his career. Then Sheppers, the scoreless 8th inning, got a couple more strikeouts, so 12 Yankees strikeouts so far. 1-1 from Bush, and a bouncer right back to the mound. Well, Matt has all kinds of time. 1 away.
And that's good to see. Now, you never want to look too far ahead, but the reality of the situation is Aaron Judge would be due up 4th this inning. So if anybody gets on base and there's no double play, he's sitting there lurking potentially as the 4th hitter. Not that you can overlook Brett Gardner or Aaron Hicks for that matter, but Judge has been the story so far here in 2017, and so it's good to see Matt Bush get that first out.
Gardner had the good swings early for this team. Had the base hit in the first inning, stole second, and the fly ball out in the 3rd. But those were against Darvish. A little bit in. Not a lot of Yankees who have seen much of Matt Bush, including Gardner, who's never faced him. 1-1 the count.
There's that good fastball, 99 miles an hour from Matt Bush. Has good life, but it is interesting, I think, as we just talked about, how he's making some changes, trying to get guys off the fastball a little bit more. It's been more the slider that he has gone to over the curveball. He does throw both, but as far as what he has done recently over these last 5, you've really seen the slider usage jump up nearly 40% in each of those last 5 games, and the curveball usage creeping up just a little bit.
1-1. Way in. Matt Bush in a big save spot right here. Looking for his 9th of the season, and the 2-1 pitch. That one hit well out toward right field, carrying toward the corner, and it is gone. A solo home run for Brett Gardner, his 14th of the year, and he has tied this game at 1.
Now, it's always the danger here at Yankee Stadium with the short right porch, and Brett Gardner jumping up there and giving a little high five to Aaron Judge. But watch the fastball here from Matt Bush, middle in. Gives Brett Gardner an opportunity to pull the baseball, and he does. That home run, like you said, Dave, ties this game up, and it's interesting to see, as we talked about what Matt Bush has done, the adjustments that he has made as of late. And all of a sudden now, this outing we've seen predominantly fastballs.
Well, here's Aaron Hicks. Hicks 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts, so the Yankees have just tied the game. They had not been shut out all year. And we're 2 outs from that reality. Gardner, with the home run, has squared this game. Now Bush's challenge is to get this to the 10th.
And that breaking ball to Aaron Hicks was the first one so far that we have seen this inning. The first 7 pitches were all fastballs.
This ball hit hard, but Odor is there. 2 away. So big to get that out, but now here comes Aaron Judge. A hitless night for the guy who has been the best hitter in the American League to this point of the season.
Probably not surprising. Aaron Judge has been very good on high velocity. 7 for 15 this year, 97 miles an hour and harder. Good for a 467 batting average. Only 1 home run in that group, though. He hit a home run against Kevin Gausman on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
1-0. And that'll even it up. Judge, for all the great numbers he's put up this year, and no matter how you parse them or which angle you take, they're outstanding. He has really hit the ball well here at home. A .385 average at Yankee Stadium. It's this ball on the ground up the middle. Andrews to his left, and that one sneaks through into center field. Judge with a 2-out hit in the 9th. And so the Yankees had the potential winning run on base.
Well, Matt Bush made a good pitch, and he got weak contact from Aaron Judge. He wanted the fastball in. He ran it in and even took it up a little bit. But because of where Elvis Andrews was played a little bit more in the hole, he was unable to get there in time, and this ball squeaks into the outfield, and the Yankees are still alive here in the bottom of the 9th.
Number 17, Matt Holliday.
Andrews very close to being able to make that play. But Bush is going to have to contend with Matt Holliday.
And Holliday is another guy who's been good on high velocities this year. 5 for 11, 1 home run. They actually hit the opposite way. You have to be careful with him. This guy's always been a very good fastball hitter. Took a 100-mile-an-hour fastball from Ryan Stanek and went the opposite way for a home run.
He takes a strike from Bush. A home run by Gardner in the bottom of the 9th has tied the game. And those remaining here at Yankee Stadium really get behind Holliday and Aaron Judge, their base runner at first. Bush's 1-strike pitch, and there's strike 2. Yankees came in 39-31. Tied for first with Boston in the American League East. But they had dropped 8 of their last 9 games. I'm wondering if maybe the Rangers had caught the Yankees at the right time. Well, Darvish pitched well. Tanner Shepard's a scoreless inning, and then Bush, just the one mistake so far, and there's a swing and a miss. He strikes out Holliday, but that one mistake, a big one. Brett Gardner's solo home run ties it, and we go to the 10th. And we go to the 10th inning. Carlos Gomez will lead things off for the Rangers. Chad Green has come in out of the bullpen for the Yankees.
You see here the 26-year-old Green, 11 games pitched so far this season, has done a very nice job for Joe Girardi coming out of that pen. Fastball will sit around 95 miles an hour. He uses that 61% of the time. He does have the slider and the cutter as well. Very occasional changeup, but it's mostly fastball, slider, and cutter. And the cutter right around 90 miles an hour. So not a lot of differential between the fastball and the cutter, but a good arm here. A good right-handed arm. Another one for Joe Girardi. I got a couple.
That'll be Gomez, Lucroy, and Napoli in the 10th inning. Rangers scored a run at the top of the 9th to break this scoreless tie. And then we're 2 outs away from earning a victory in this opening game, but Brett Gardner with a home run to right field has tied it. We play on. Gomez has struck out all 3 times he has come up tonight. 10-game hitting streak on the line in this one, and more than likely didn't think he would get another shot. Has one here though, the count 1-1.
No, probably not. You look at how this game was kind of developing. But yes, Carlos Gomez now I'm sure is happy to get himself another at bat here. It's been a bit of a rough night for him, but maybe I won't say an easier pitcher to hit off of, but the way that Tanaka was throwing tonight and the way that you saw Aroldis Chapman, although he was off a little bit, I got to believe that it's always good. You have a rough night with 3 strikeouts. I love seeing a different arm next time you get up there.
This ball hit hard, but on one hop to short. Trouble for Gregorius, and it goes out into center field. Gomez with an aggressive turn. He'll hold it first. See how that one is scored.
Yeah, you can kind of see this coming here a little bit with Didi Gregorius. This was going to be that in-between hop. Not always the easiest play, and it's going to be ruled an error here. But watch this ball hit by Carlos Gomez, that one hopper, and you see him go down and try to come up with it. Exactly what he was shaking his hand at afterwards, but unable to field it cleanly, and it does go down as an error.
So Gomez is on, but still an 0 for him. The hitting streak in jeopardy. Not that 10 games is the type of thing you concern yourself with terribly. Right now he's representing a very big run.
Interesting here, right? Extra innings, tie game, not a lot of offense, and you think, well, would you want Jonathan Lucroy? Think about bunting at all. Is that even on the table? I love him swinging away here.
Gomez running on the pitch, little bouncer third base, and 1 away. So Gomez gets to second on a weak ground out. 1 out, but.
And that's why you do that there, because Jonathan Lucroy does hit a lot of ground balls. Now I got to believe he's probably trying to shoot that ball to the right side a little bit, but he ends up catching the top half of it. But because you put the runner in motion, you know, kind of getting the same effect. You got a runner in scoring position now. You got a couple of good hitters coming up here, and Mike Napoli and Joey Gallo, who each will have a shot now to drive in Carlos Gomez.
Napoli has walked twice tonight. He's 0 for 1. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Big RBI spot here, though, for Napoli. Green with the long set. And is way off the plate, 1-1. It's Green's second year in the big leagues. Last year, pitched in 12 games, made 8 starts for the Yankees. 4 times came out of the bullpen. Napoli, one of the few who has seen him in the past, hit a home run off him.
He's done a good job of taking first. That really good fastball away that had some nice life, laying off the breaking ball there. You know, Mike is thinking about finding a way to try to drive this run in, but you're right, this is a good matchup for him. We could see him squaring the ball up, and he's in a good count right now. We'll see ultimately if Green tries to go with the fastball or if he stays. He's got the open base. That's the other way to look at this. Fall behind the count, whether or not you want to stay with the sliders, the cutters away off the plate, try to get Mike Napoli to chase, and if you walk him, worst case scenario, you have yourself in that double play situation.
Joey Gallo waiting on deck. Gomez at second with good speed. And it's in there, 2-2 on Napoli. Napoli had the really slow start in April, but since then his numbers have normalized right back to sort of career standards for him. For a much better and higher batting average. The power has continued to be there. And this one in the dirt. It's a full count now on Napoli.
He's done a good job working some pitches in this count. That 97-mile-an-hour fastball he saw in the 2-1 count. Jumped on him a little bit. He's got to be sitting in that spot. I think you see Green go for the strikeout with the slider there, trying to get him to chase. I don't know. He got the open base, but if Mike Napoli get another shot at a fastball here.
Three-two. Fouled off. Since April ended, Napoli getting on at a 310 clip, a 243 batting average, and we talked about it earlier. You talk about on base and slugging percentage. I mean, slugging over 550 since the month of April, an OPS of 867. So he has been productive.
It's so interesting to me to watch these kind of at bats, right, where he gets to go deep in the count. He's about to see his 7th pitch, where go back to last year, he is leading baseball in slugging on the first pitch of the at bat. He can do it either way. He can make it really difficult for you, the way that he's doing right now to Chad Green, or he can jump ship on you early. Slugging 11.25 on the first pitch going back to the beginning of last year. I mentioned that is the best in the league, and then he sits there and he does this kind of deal too, where he can put a long, arduous, very difficult at bat against the pitcher.
Three-two. And he works another walk, his 3rd of the night. You mentioned it earlier, not the worst thing that Green could do, but he was obviously working hard to get Napoli, and Napoli ended up winning that battle. Looks like the Rangers are going to go to a pinch runner here. Delano to Shields heading over to first. Napoli will return to the dugout. And Joe Girardi is signaled to the bullpen. He's making a move. So the Yankees, with 2 men on now in the 10th inning, need another arm. Been on a 1-1 game. Well, it was scoreless until the 9th. The Rangers broke through. Elvis Andrus with a steal of third and then came home 2 pitches later. On that one, they got away. A pass ball charged to Gary Sanchez. But then, in the bottom of the 9th, with 1 out, Brett Gardner into those seats at right field. It's a 1-1 game.
Always a little bit risky going inside. Thinking about trying to finish off the game, especially here in Yankee Stadium against a left-handed hitter. But Matt Bush has got a good fastball, and you got to kind of tip your cap there to Brett Gardner, who does a nice job. And now the Yankees are going to go to the bullpen with a couple of lefties coming up. Joey Gallo and Chu, of course, are due up next, and it's going to be Jason Shreve will be coming in. 18 games this year, has done a very nice job. You see the 1.80 ERA, good whip, good strikeout to walk ratio as well. And matchup here for Joe Girardi is exactly what he would like to get here. Shreve just a 160 batting average against. Left-handed hitters has allowed just 1 home run, 9 strikeouts, 3 walks when facing those lefties.
So he comes on to face Joey Gallo. 0 for 3 so far tonight.
And this is the kind of guy too. You look at a lot of lefties and you say, you're never going to pitch hit for Joey Gallo. At least I don't think you ever would. But you look at Shreve as well. He actually has better numbers even against righties. As good as he has been against lefties at 160, righties are hitting just 140 against him, and that has to do with the fact that he throws a split finger. And that's a good neutralizing pitch. Doesn't matter lefties or righties. But for a lefty to be able to throw that split, that's something you certainly can use against right-handed hitters when you throw it well.
Two men out there. Gomez at second. DeShields pinch running at first. And that one trickles away briefly. DeShields got too far off first base. The throw back behind him, and everybody's in safely.
I think Gary Sanchez caught a break here. I think this ball hit his shin guard and kicked forward, which that really should never happen, because you think about what a catcher's job is, and that's to get down and block the ball. And we'll see. That's what it sounded like. Let's take a look here. Or that catch the umpire's shin guard? I couldn't see because Shreve looked like he was blocking. See, this ball hits Dan. It sure does. Yep. So that actually went right through the 5-hole in between Gary Sanchez's legs. Watch this ball. It's going to go right through his legs, and it's going to end up hitting the umpire's shin guard. Otherwise, that ball's all the way to the back of the wall, the backstop, and you're going to have second and third right now with 1 out. So Sanchez catches a huge break.
He's had a tough night back there.
He has. The one against Chapman, that's tough. Right, guy's throwing 100 miles an hour and he misses a spot, and ball's borderline on being in the dirt, but he just looks a little slow. Looks a little slow getting down, blocking balls, getting his glove in the right position. You never anticipate that your pitchers are going to hit their spots.
2-2 on Gallo.
I mentioned using the split finger against righties, something that would help Shreve out. He's done a very nice job here of throwing this pitch to Joey Gallo. That's what you're seeing, that ball that's kind of diving down in off the plate below the zone. That's the split finger he's using.
So Shreve comes ready again. Full count.
Another one in the dirt here. Let's take a look here. Sanchez got to work hard. That ball bounced way in front. There he does a good job. He gets down, leans forward. It's that chest protector pointing toward the ground, so as that ball hits, it kind of dies and stays in front of him. It's been all split fingers so far in this at-bat to Joey Gallo. I think Jason Shreve has decided he will not give Gallo a fastball, at least not one in the zone.
Well, it's 3-2 pitch. No, he's going to look back. Check on Gomez. Gomez, who reached on an error. Napoli walked 1 out later. Now the payoff. Gallo strikes out swinging.
That's not something you see every day, where a left-handed reliever comes in to face a left-handed hitter and all he does is throw him split fingers. And a lot of those, as we saw earlier on the pitch tracks,
Fox tracks, they were out of the zone. There it is. You see that ball diving down. We'll see what kind of treatment Chu gets from Shreve. A little bit more plate discipline, right? Less likely to chase that ball out of the zone. It was 6 straight split fingers to Joey Gallo.
Well, now Chu, who's 0 for 4. And that one's low for a ball. Chu with a couple of strikeouts tonight. Not a typical night for him at the plate. Watches another one low. 2-0.
I mean, it's hugely advantageous. We always talk about how good Chu is, pitch recognition, everything else. But he just watched exactly how Shreve was going to go after Joey Gallo. He's done the same thing here now to Chu, where it's been back-to-back split fingers. This guy's thrown 8 pitches. Every single one of them has been a split finger. You just don't see that very often. It's a very unique approach, but one that has been successful for Jason Shreve.
2-0. Got a pitch to hit that time.
I think Chu was sitting dead red there, decided to take a big swing, and he got the splitter, not the deep one. That would have acted a little bit more like a straight changeup. And it was up in the zone.
Shreve got Gallo. Now his 2-1 pitch. Boy, that bounces up there, and another smother by Sanchez. It's a 3-1 count. And again, Sanchez out there to talk about it with Shreve.
Well, I think it's partially making sure that he has the confidence and not worrying about throwing it down, right? I mean, it's been all split fingers, 9 so far, and a bunch of those have been in the dirt. You want to make sure your pitcher has confidence to go ahead, 10 straight, but have the confidence to throw that pitch. Go ahead, don't worry about it. I'll get it. It's a big part of it.
Oh, that missed. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Chu with a very good at bat works the 2-out walk. That might be decision time again in that dugout. Girardi looks like he is going to stick with the left-hander.
Well, again, that's the advantage of having the great splits. Now, obviously, there's 2 outs here, so either Elvis is going to drive in the go-ahead runner, or the inning's going to flip. But you also have Mazzaro behind him. But at that point, you'll already be down. But I think this has a lot to do with the good splits for Chase and Shreve. They did not even have anybody warming up in that Yankee bullpen, so they believe in him, not just against the lefties, but also against the righties.
Boy, Andrews has been so good this year, so clutch for the Rangers when they need a big RBI. Good guy to have up there in this moment. As he takes a strike. And Sanchez, I don't know, Sanchez crossed up again. Every pitch he's got to go out to the mound.
Yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous now. It was a slider that he threw, and it was a strike, and Sanchez was unable to catch it cleanly. So, listen, you see this sometimes from catchers where they'll go out in that situation and act like the pitcher crossed him up. I mean, he might have just botched that ball. But he, I guess they always want to make sure and go out and make sure everybody's on the same page.
Andrews with 38 RBIs. That is 3rd most on the team, but among shortstops, only Carlos Correa of the Astros has more. He has once again been so productive in this first half of the season. 7 home runs, those 38 RBIs. His speed generated the only run the Rangers have scored tonight. That came in the 9th inning. Gave them the 1-0 lead, but then in the bottom of the 9th, Gardner's home run tied it. Huge spot here for the Rangers. Time called. Anderson, enough of the wait. We waited an hour and 42 minutes to get this game started tonight. Long rain delay. Saw a great duel between the two starters, and now the bullpens battling it out in extra innings. Gomez third, DeShields at second, Chu is at first. One to Andrews, and it's in. Ball two. A little bit after midnight here locally. A little after 11 o'clock back home. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nitkowski, Emily Jones alongside down on the field. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Opening game of this 3-game series.
Now the walks have been an issue for Shreve here a little bit. 11 of them in 20 innings. Now 2 of them have been intentional, but that goes down for a 5/9 walk rate. It's pretty high.
2-1. And that's ball 3. And he's one bad pitch away from walking in the go-ahead run in the 10th inning.
Well, that's the key, is being able to stay off of that split finger. That one was far enough below the zone. Elvis Andrus did not get too excited, didn't try to do too much, and he realizes that Shreve is having a little bit of an issue here throwing strikes and controlling that split finger. Even those ones that he threw to Joey Gallo, most of them were finishing out of the strike zone. So patience is key. You try to get him to bring that pitch up, force him to throw it in the strike zone. Elvis so far through this at bat has done a very nice job of staying off of some of that.
Well, this is a big pitch now, the 3-1. In there for a strike, full count. That'll get the fans up.
Well, it's a 3-1 fastball. He's trying to go down and away. He missed up and in, but was able to catch the corner. I guess it was pretty close. Elvis says okay. But Shreve still having an issue here hitting his spots. And now the ultimate buzzkill here from,
my goodness,
Gary Sanchez, who really enjoys going out to the mound and talking to his pitchers.
You could see a scenario in which the Yankees would learn to use signals from the catcher to the pitcher
It almost
to decide what pitches to throw.
Yeah, that would probably work pretty well. We almost feel like he's trying to take the crowd out of it a little bit. I mean, it happens so often, and when the conversation comes up in baseball about limiting visits to the mound, this is a perfect example of why.
Well, what a spot here for Elvis Andrus. He's never hit a grand slam. Seems like as good a time as any. Bases loaded, 2 out, full count. They'll be running. The pitch. And he pops it up, heading up into the seats. And we'll do it again.
He's got back-to-back fastballs here from Shreve, who's the called fastball for a strike at 94 miles an hour. Another one there, and gosh, I got to believe for Elvis, he's thinking fastball here. You don't want to get caught off guard because you think fastball and he throws that split and it's for a strike. It can really get you way out front. But I wonder if he's tipped his cap here, tipped his hand here a little bit with the back-to-back fastballs.
The 3-2. And this one lifted high in the air, out to short right field. Castro is there, and there will be a tie to the bottom of the 10th. Andrus just misses.
Here at Yankee Stadium, just 2 runs combined along with just 8 hits. It's a tight game, but how about this one? You know the can't miss event of the summer. It's South Beach when baseball's biggest stars take the field for the MLB All-Star Game. That'll be July 11th, and it'll only be on Fox.
Well, this is interesting. Matt Bush coming out for a second inning.
Yeah, it is, and I think about going to your best arms, and when you're on the road and having those best arms available. Jeff Bannister wants to go back to Matt Bush, send him back out there. He did have 3 days off, only pitched that first game of the Toronto series, did not pitch the last 3, so we should be pretty well rested. It was back-to-back outings that he had on the 18th and the 19th, but 7 days of the 9 leading up to tonight that he had not pitched. We've got to believe that Matt Bush is feeling pretty strong.
Well, Starlin Castro will lead things off for the Yankees. And Bush right in there with strike 1. Bush could not complete the save in the 9th inning. Had the 1-0 lead, but allowed the home run. Then did come back to get the final 2 outs and at least keep it a tie. That's his job again here in the bottom of the 10th. It's 1-1. Bush has pitched into a second inning on occasion this year. In fact, his first outing of the year against the Cleveland Indians, he won an inning and 2/3. This ball hit sharply on the ground. Shortstop Andrus, long throw, 1 away. So Bush continuing to toil in the 10th inning. For more on him, let's check in with Emily.
Yeah, well, Jeff Bannister was actually asked today about Matt Bush and this closer role, if it was at all in flux. And Jeff Bannister said no, not right now, and quick to point out that Matt Bush only had 88 professional innings pitched at any level before he came to the big leagues last season. That was before he took the time away from baseball, after the trouble he got into and the time that he pitched when he came back. So 88 innings, not a whole lot of time, and then to be in this closer role is a completely different animal. So they're willing to give him a little more time to adjust and kind of find his way in this role.
It's not a lot of innings, and she's absolutely right. And you start thinking about what you learn over the course of pitching, and it's not just getting the experience of performing well and getting the confidence that you can do it in the big leagues, but also you kind of build up a database of failures that you have, and what you learn from those failures is a big part of pitching, in my opinion, a big part of the development process. Obviously, Matt Bush comes from a different background and starting off as a position player, and then everything else that had happened on the personal side. But it is something that you have to keep in mind, because in that short amount of time, there hasn't been a lot of failure on the mound either. And so those failures certainly help you go forward, but you also can recall situations you've been, okay, yeah, I remember, I had an issue here, and this kind of game, and I'm starting to feel like this is turning into one of those, how do I reverse it and change it before it gets to that? That is such a huge part of pitching, and experience really matters.
Ground ball up the middle, and Andrews can't quite get to it. Sanchez on with 1 out in this 10th inning.
Well, just kind of a luckily placed ground ball here from Gary Sanchez. He did not hit it particularly hard, but he hit it in the right spot. We've seen this now happen twice, where some ground balls were just able to get past Elvis Andrus because he was positioned a little bit deeper in the hole, and weak contact up the middle, and not a lot he could do about that. Tough right there. Hopefully Matt Bush can pitch around this, get himself a ground ball. We saw Didi Gregorius hit to a double play earlier in this game, 4-6-3 back in the 5th, so why not try to turn that trick again here in the 10th?
Well, Sanchez is on. Not a huge threat to be running. Didi Gregorius 0 for 3. Stands in. Game 1 in our 3-game series. Tomorrow, right back out here. Short rest for both these teams. Austin Bibbins Dirks will have the start for the Rangers. And Austin pretty excited about that. Talked to him the other day. And he said, yeah, a couple days ago, it started to occur to me, my goodness, I'm going to be pitching at Yankee Stadium. That's awesome.
Now what are you?
in this situation, you have the option of go ahead and take it to the house, right? He's got a day game tomorrow. It's getting late. It's after midnight. You always want your starting pitcher to get a full night's sleep. Would not be a terrible thing. It was already gone. See Hector Ortiz there. Jeff Bannister, Steve Buechele. Buechele, wonder, is there an Austin Bibens? They're exciting. Take it to the house, man. Might be here a while.
Down low, it's 2-1 to Gregorius.
You do have to be careful here with Didi Gregorius. When he came over from the Arizona Diamondbacks, he'd never hit more than 7 home runs in a season. They thought, you know what, bring him here to Yankee Stadium. This is a guy who hits strictly from the left side. You might see some power numbers jump. Now, his first year only hit 9, but last year it was 20 home runs for him in nearly 600 plate appearances. So there's a little bit of pop in that bat, and he's got 8 so far this season.
2-1, and Gregorius lines it sharply out to right field. Chu is playing very deep. Sanchez heads to third, and he'll be in there easily. So they're on the corners in the bottom of the 10th with just 1 out.
Gary Sanchez is not a very strong runner, but after this ball is hit and one that was elevated even off the plate from Matt Bush, you're going to see Gary Sanchez and how slow he goes. But you're right, Chu was playing deep, playing at no doubles. You'll want to get them an opportunity to score a run there. Now the other thing is that the Yankees are playing with a little bit of a thin bench. It's Chase Headley, it's Austin Romine, and Mason Williams. Those are your options, and so they don't go with a pinch runner. And now this is a visit strictly from Jeff Bannister, where he wants to talk to Matt Bush, get a message across, also wants to talk a little bit of strategy here. But I think you can see the animation there from Banny, and it's about maybe getting Matt Bush just a little bit fired up here, getting him back on track as he faces a tough spot with the potential winning run on third base.
Well, not a lot of room for error now. Sanchez is 90 feet away. There has been activity out of that Rangers bullpen. You see Dario Alvarez ready to go. Beltre and Bush continuing to converse.
And the only way you see a lefty here in Brett Gardner is if you get to the point where it'd be bases loaded and 1 out. Now, it could also be the conversation of how you want to approach Carter, right? We know that he's a free swinger. Matt Bush has got some live stuff. He's a good fastball hitter. He's got power. He's shown that over the course of his career.
Interesting, not much of a lead over there for Gregorius, but Bush threw over anyway.
And a non-factor, right? I mean, obviously, if you have a chance to pick a guy off, you would take it, but that's a run that does not matter.
Maybe the only idea there being got to keep him at first. Don't give him second base, because the off chance that Carter hits one on the ground, and he doesn't do it a lot, and you'd have that shot at a double play.
No, you're absolutely right. You definitely don't give this up. You don't let him just take this base. Can't do it.
One and one. Carter struck out in the 3rd inning, flat out in the 6th, and struck out again in the 8th inning. Gives him 69 strikeouts for the year. It's a guy who has on several occasions struck out in excess of 200 times in a season. Still a relatively small lead for Gregorius, not going anywhere. And this one popped up out of play. It's 1-2.
You mentioned that a couple of seasons for Carter last year, and then also in 2013, where he struck out more than 200 times, but he had 41 home runs to go with it last year. His offseason was really interesting. He hit just 222. I'd say his offseason, it became an offseason once he was designated for assignment, when the Milwaukee Brewers basically just let him go after hitting 41 home runs. As much as we talk about teams not caring about strikeouts, low batting average, as long as the home runs are there, his OPS was 821. Ended up signing a much smaller deal here with the Yankees.
And he strikes out swinging, 2 away in the 10th.
Third strikeout of the night for Chris Carter. The Boo Birds follow, and that's because they've been disappointed in the production that they have seen from him, but he's been kind of the same guy
So what you got to expect is Matt Bush throws this ball up above the zone, and Chris Carter swings right through it.
So now with 2 away, again, Beltre walking over to have a word with Bush. It's interesting. Beltre has taken that role so aggressively this inning. His conversation done, and he heads back to third. Torreyes 0 for 3. Almost started, but it did not go according to Danley. Couple of groundouts and a strikeout for Torreyes. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for the Rangers. 1 run, 6 hits and an error for the Yankees. A flare out to center, drops in, base hit, and that will do it. Torreyes, of all people, delivers the base hit to center field. Sanchez comes in from third, and the Yankees steal this one tonight. 2-1 the final in 10.
Well, tough break, a great starting pitching matchup between Darvish and Masahiro Tanaka. Both guys deliver, but it was first the 9th inning home run from Brett Gardner, and now this base hit from Ronald Torreyes. He is a contact guy. This is a good pitch that was down. He didn't hit it particularly hard, but he hit it hard enough just to get it into the outfield as Gary Sanchez scores. And a tough loss here for the Rangers, the opener of the series against the Yankees.
Carlos Gomez had a real good idea there. He was coming in hard and looking to see if he could force out Gregorius at second, because that would have negated the run, but sadly it was not to be. John Radigan, Mark McLemore, and David Murphy will be back momentarily to talk about this great starts by Darvish and Tanaka, and give you all the rest of the analysis from today's game. For CJ Nitkowski, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, this is Dave Raymond inviting you to stay with us. Our coverage continues right after this.